Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. Oddly, and as always, I am Chat Show. How are you? Did you have a good week? Your computer's not buffering. And it's so wrong for me to do that at the top of the show because the internet is completely and utterly fucked up. How are you? Oh, wait. We had a very exciting week since we saw you last. I wish I could share all of it. There was a trip to Las Vegas that was insanely disappointing.
How much money did you leave there?
I took a little under $600 from the Bellagio Casino.
Get out.
I did.
That's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Good for you.
It was a joy.
Where'd you do your damage?
My damage?
Yeah, where'd you hurt them? What tables?
It was not a gambling trip. Almost no time for gambling, which was frustrating. In fact, the way things went otherwise,
yeah,
I would have been better off just gambling.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it was very little gambling. Although great meals and great friends, and that was all good. Ate like fat kings, not just kings. We ate like fat kings. We ate like
Damn
fat
ass kings.
Like King Ralph.
Yes. We really did go to town on the eating. And Jamie did some fantastic world-class dancing.
I sprained my ankle.
Sprained her ankle. We went to a dueling piano bar. Friend of the show, Matt Myra, right? First night Jamie and I are there. We drive in Wednesday. We're walking from the Bellagio to Caesars, where the Bobby Flay restaurant Mesa Grill is. I've mentioned it many times in the show, dropping Bobby's name. Everybody knows her friends, blah, blah, blah. So we're walking there to enjoy our lovely 8 o'clock reservation. The place is packed, Vegas, because of the CES.
Sure.
Right? The Consumer Electronics. And can't get a reservation anywhere. But, blah, blah, blah. So we're walking, and on our walk there, I hear someone yell, Kevin and Jamie. We look around, there's our friend, Matt Myra. He is the co-host, of course, of the Nerdist podcast and one of the producers on that and that whole big network that's doing fantastically well. And he's also a wonderful stand-up comedian and a pal. So, hey, how you doing? Didn't know you were here, blah, blah, blah. And he says, we're on our way to the buffet because we couldn't get into Mesa Grill. And I said, we're headed to Mesa Grill. We insist that you
And
join us.
and anyone I actually care about, I would never allow to eat at a buffet.
Yeah, exactly.
This is disgusting.
Not our favorite thing, the buffet. We understand that people love them.
Some.
Yes. I never understand food cooked for $300 as a place to eat. But
I just don't eat a lot. So it doesn't.
And the idea of all you can eat,
doesn't really benefit me.
Well, hey, if you're John Panette,
there's
no better deal in town.
And it's a great bit for your act.
I think 2 people got that in the chat room.
But can I suggest that there's no other country but our fat country that has all you can eat? Do they have all you can? I've never seen all you can eat in any other country. I think we invented it. I think we need to do away with it.
Yeah.
It's a horrible, horrible thing. Unless you're on a bread line, then sure, all you can eat.
Right.
On the bread line.
On the bread line.
Because you're that. So, come eat with us, Matt Myra, and your best friend since the 4th grade. Mm-hmm. John was his name. So we're sitting there, and then Matt Myra shares this story. 22 minutes before we ran into him on our walk from the Bellagio to Caesars, 22 minutes before that, they were standing in front of the Mesa Grill. We're turned away at the Mesa Grill, being told, sorry, we couldn't, this is at 7:40. We can't seat you until 9:45. And they go, all right, put our name on the list. And that's when they decide to go to the buffet at the Bellagio. And as they're walking over, Matt says, my friends, Kevin Pollak and Jamie Foxx, are friends with this Bobby Flay prick. And if they were here right now, we'd be fucking sitting down. Not knowing that we were in town.
No.
And that he was about to run into us 22 minutes later.
Boy, did that work out.
What?
Great for him.
Let's calculate the odds, shall we?
Well, you were in Vegas.
Bitching and moaning, cut to sitting down at the restaurant because of the very person. I mean, my head blew up.
I'm going to put it at somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.5 million to 1.
Okay, I like it. I like those odds. Yeah. So we gambled that night and won because clearly the odds were, in our favor.
Nicely done.
Sammy, what did you do in the week off?
I have no idea what I did before this morning.
All right, sir.
It's all a blur.
Medication, drugs, coffee, booze?
I couldn't tell you.
Just a whirlwind of activity.
Just a whirlwind of activity. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be reprising my role on NCIS this week.
How are you? And how is that?
It's great. Our guest is laughing at me.
Why?
Well,
we'll
see,
find
he had
out.
a long-running show on CBS.
Uh-huh.
That
He certainly
I
did.
could never get on. I could never get on.
Weird.
Yeah. I wish I'd have known someone who had any influence.
All right.
But me and Mark Harmon, we go way back.
Well, he's going.
Yeah, but he was also People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive of 1987. Let's not forget that.
He was also a college football sensation, I believe, at one point.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an all-around American
For the
man.
USC. He is an American.
Yeah.
So you're gearing up and doing that.
Gearing up and doing that.
Fantastic.
That's what my whole week has been, learning all my lines.
Do the people at home and around the world know that we're going to be doing the show from Sketchfest in San Francisco next Saturday, live in front of an audience?
Well, they better now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will be. It's going to be a very, very exciting weekend.
Our very own Dr. Chen and Josh Negron will be up there joining us. J. Mac apparently can't make
He's
it.
got better things to do.
We got better things to do.
Yeah.
We're going to file that under better things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It felt more like a blow-off, just one of these.
Yeah.
But
one of those.
better things to do feels better. Yeah. But that's very exciting. Our second annual live in front of an audience. The recently Independent Spirit Award nominated Rachel E. Harris will be our guest. Very excited about that. Jamie,
Yes.
anything to report from the week since we saw our lovely viewers last?
When we were in Vegas, I got a little obsessed with that Ghostbusters video game. Or not video game, the poker, the slot machine.
It's
the
a
slot
video
machine.
game, though.
It was kind of like a video game, but it kept haunting me.
Every casino now
Has this wonderful Ghostbusters.
gigantic. You know, all the TV shows and movies have their own slot machine now in the big casinos.
Sure.
Sure enough, there's a Ghostbusters, a bank of slot machines with a giant.
Like video screen in front of
Video
it.
screen.
It's basically playing the whole movie for you. Your chair moves, and you got, all of the cast like yelling in your ears. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, and everyone knows in the chat room there and watching and listening that you're a Go Nutty Ghostbusters fan. So this was like a fantasy. So the whole trip, we've got to go buy the machine. We've got to play the machine. Literally dragging our luggage out of the casino into the car. We say,
I just
all right,
never had time to play it until right before we left. I was
right
like,
before
no, I'm
we
going to
left.
sit down.
Let's sit down and play. And it turns out to be
I had no idea what was going on.
the single most confusing slot machine in the history of
I don't understand slot machines to begin with because I never know what's going on.
Oh, this was worse than I don't understand.
All I know is I had my favorite, 1980s Harold Ramis staring back at me, so I was happy.
Yeah. If only there was a time machine
I need a time machine.
for everyone involved.
You should have gone to the Back to the Future slot machine.
See? Then he could have
They
gotten...
don't have one.
I see.
Surprisingly.
I do see what you did there. Yeah, we were all thrilled to see the Hangover 2 slot machine. Anything that puts more money in the top.
I saw Legally
Oh,
Blonde
God.
slot machine once.
Legally Blonde slot machine.
Yeah.
There was a Monkeys one too, which is also very exciting. It's like if there was a Simpsons one, and then like a Disney themed one, I'd be
Maybe
sad.
that's the new, you made it win. Or you're a total loser because you don't
Right.
have.
An action figure
Or
turned into a slot machine.
slot machine. What else? Oh, the Golden Globes are tonight, which is unbelievably exciting for everyone nominated. All the hubbub we were talking about driving over here about the Ricky Gervais and the slanderous things he says. Meanwhile, he's pretty much the only reason I would ever tune into this fucking show.
Yeah.
Is to see him go after other people.
Absolutely.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
right?
By the way, I'd like you to know I'm here tonight in spite of the fact that I was nominated for my first appearance on NCIS last year.
Aha.
It was much talked about, and I'm up in 3 separate categories.
Ballyhooed.
But as you know, this is far more important to me.
Well,
So-
I think we all know that. I think if you look up the word dedication, we see a picture of you
In this chat.
in that chair. Yeah.
Apparently, my necklace is rubbing the microphone, and you can't see that I have a left arm. I'm about this close to taking my top off.
Wow. Well, you've got the black, yeah.
So I have a left arm.
I'm looking
I did
at
not
the-
lose it in the war.
Well, you have from the elbow down.
Yeah.
I believe, let's see, after all the threats of the Hulu, apparently it's launching this week.
What the hell?
None of us believe it until we see it.
Yeah.
But apparently it's launching either Tuesday or Wednesday. Kevin Pollak Chat Show. Look for it linked to every single guest that's ever been on the show.
Oh, boy.
They say cross promotions such as, let's say Mad Men ever comes back,
Right.
It is in March.
25th.
when a new episode pops up on Hulu, underneath it'll say John Hamm, Kevin Pollak Chat Show. John Slattery, Kevin Pollak, and linked to us, left and right, up and down, in and
boy.
out.
Oh, boy.
Again, I'll believe it when I see it, those sons of bitches. We like to ask you, the audience, to be involved as much as possible, so God damn it, what are you waiting for? Write to us at contact@kevinpollak'schatshow.com. Contact@kevinpollak'schatshow.com. We ask you to participate in Ask Kevin. You can ask us any questions at all. We'll do our best to answer them. We ask you to participate by offering up one of your very own Larry King games. If your Larry King game is read on the show, we're going to send you a goddamn T-shirt. How the fuck about that? Kevin Pollak's Chat Show T-shirt in your exact size. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then lastly, a fairly new help us out, which is how do you do KPCS? I originally was how do you watch, and thinking no.
No, because so many of our viewers do not have the gift of sight.
So many, right. We're the #1 internet show for the blind.
That's something to be proud of.
Well,
because there's a lot to listen to on the internet, let's be honest.
Clearly. So Jeremy Nessmeyer, couldn't possibly pronounce that correctly, wants to let us know how he does KPCS. Mm-hmm. He writes, first off, tell that prick Kevin Pollak to get out of my face. Weird way to start the missive.
I mean, he really expects us to read the whole thing now.
Weird. Had I not continued to read. And he goes on to say, and the real reason for writing, you all should know how you've changed my life. I recently went back a little and listened to the Adam Savage podcast. That would be our first annual live in front of an audience from Sketchfest in San Francisco a year ago. In which, if I'm remembering correctly, you mentioned jokingly that your ideal listener is somebody traveling across the country who is stuck in a plane for a couple of hours and doesn't have anything better to do. Well, I want you to know that I found a much better time to listen. Listen to this, son of a bitch, correcting me. Well, when I'm doing housework. On 4 consecutive occasions now, I've put your show on my iPod, put in my earbuds, and cleaned the shit out of my house. Who doesn't want to help people clean the shit out of their house? How much does carpet shampooing and dishwashing suck? Your show lets me do it with glee. Last time I came home from working a 10-hour day and had half a podcast finished. I wanted to hear the rest, so I started building some shelves in the basement. 2 hours later, I had all my shit put away and organized and had gained a better appreciation for Kevin Smith, whom I had previously thought was a little pompous. You've involuntarily made me a better man. I'm more productive, I'm generally happier, and my girlfriend will attest that I'm probably much better to have around the house. Thank you all, Jeremy Nessmeyer. Look at that.
That's fantastic.
Right?
Can we call it Kevin Pollak Presents This Old House?
Well, I had no idea we could help people construct shelves.
Are we subliminally instructing people to do do-it-yourself carpentry?
What if he's not being totally honest?
Yeah.
What if he's building one of those sinkholes from Silence of the Lambs in the basement? And he was listening to us while he was constructing that.
You know what? That sounds so much more likely, I gotta be honest.
Right?
Yeah.
It puts the lotion on and then listens to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show.
Absolutely.
I understand.
Maybe he's using our chat show to drive his victims mad.
Yeah, wait. That does seem possible, yeah. I mentioned you can win a T-shirt if you send us in your Larry King game. You can also upload a video of yourself doing the Larry King game. It's been forever. We have a bunch of new listeners and viewers. So I'm going to run down this Larry King game for you one more time. It's a long-standing tradition. Guest each week. This is the show 136. I think 2 of the 136 from a different country did not do the Larry King game, but otherwise.
We want to. Megan Mullally owes us one.
Megan Mullally does owe us one. Promised one.
Yeah.
Did she not? Interesting. Have to get her back on just for that. Bad impression of Larry King. We want that. Very important. I want a bad Larry. If you're going to video one, if you just write it, I'll do the bad Larry King impression for you. And then it's really Larry sort of sharing too much information about himself, about his day, about his life, about his early work with the dinosaurs, and then goes to the phone. And if the name of the city that he goes to on the phone is funny sounding, you're going to help drive this sucker home. Here's today's winner with the Larry King game. Clark Miles is his name. He writes this Larry King game, and congratulations. Please send us your shirt size, Clark Miles. Email us again, contact@kevinpollak'schatshow.com with your shirt size, and we'll send that shirt right off. Twitter and Facebook were things Bob Hope and I would do to each other's wives back in 1962. Mishawaka, Indiana, you're on the line. It's just that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Think of something clever to say as Larry King, and God damn it, you'll get yourself a T-shirt. I want to mention the fine folks at the Gurin Brothers make themselves lovely chapeaux. Had a few emails already from people saying thanks very much for turning me on to this racket. Gurin.com if you want to take a look at all their stuff. Couldn't be a bigger fan. Love them every which way. So, dear gosh almighty. I think that's it for the pre-show ramble. If, again, you want to send us any information, contact at KevinPollocksChatShow.com. Congratulations to the 49ers on their big victory yesterday. And good luck beating the Giants or Green Bay. Either one pretty much gonna...
Is this in the Super Bowl?
On their way.
Is this going to happen?
On their journey to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It's the first time in 9 years we actually won a playoff game.
Oh.
So it was kind of a big deal.
How about 103 years?
For the Cubs?
Yeah.
And
but I'm just saying, if you're looking for some, good for you, talk to me after you hit the century mark.
To make it to the World Series, or to win the World Series.
If you want to talk make it to the World Series, 1945
I see.
was our last appearance.
So we win World War II, and then you're in the World Series.
And then it ends. Then it's over.
Right.
We had a good run. The Cubs can only win during wartime,
I see.
as it turns out.
Well, you would think with
This skirmish in the Mideast?
yeah,
Yeah,
you'd
you
have
would
a shot.
think.
Skirmish. Wow, fantastic. How many people dead so far, Kenny?
Thank you.
27,000? Skirmish. All right. My guest today, it's show number 136. We're unbelievably excited. Been a fan for a long, long time. Ran into each other briefly where I believe dueling Alan Arkins took place on our initial introduction. But we're going to see a little bit of that today, God willing, should there be, in fact, a God. He has done some great work on the screen, both large and small. Started on the Broadway at the age of 13, which we'll discuss, starring in a big Broadway show. And then a couple years ago became unbelievably, if not annoyingly, popular and famous for a television show called Numbers, with a number actually in the name, in case you were confused by how to misspell the word numbers. Put a 3 in there. No way he ever took shit for that. Ever. Well, we'll find out. Please welcome to this table, Mr. David Krumholtz. David, please be seated.
Thank you.
Everyone. I'm going to start today's interview
Yes.
in a similar way that I did last week with Ed O'Neill, which was the first time I ever started the show this way, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Out of the 135 interviews that I started this way, this is only the second time. How proud are you when people remind you that you and I have worked together, in this case, Santa Claus 2 and 3?
I wasn't in Santa Claus 3.
What?
So I'm not proud about that one.
Right. Santa Claus 2?
Clearly you didn't see either movie.
No.
Santa Claus 2, you were Cupid.
Thank you.
Very cute.
Right. You were Norman?
I was Norman, the head elf.
Sure.
Of all elves, yeah. It was nice that you brought some credibility
Did I?
to an otherwise credibility-less franchise.
Marty Short was there.
That's true. You know what? You're right. Well, he wasn't there till the 3rd. And that's when I said, I got to get out of here.
I can't be the head elf anymore.
Yeah.
I've got a career now,
Well, and Martin Short is inherently elfish.
as it were.
Elvish, I guess. Is it elfish or elvish?
I'm going to go Elvish to block.
So he took he stole my thunder. But it's wonderful to see you again. And thank you for asking me to do this. And yeah, maybe we'll be in Santa Claus 4.
No.
Maybe they'll bring me back. No.
I don't.
Why? You
I don't
wanna
see
do
a
it again?
world in which that happens. I would put that diaper back on and fly around as Cupid in a heartbeat. Are you kidding?
You were great.
Well, please.
And very funny.
It is some of my least watched work.
And Arkin.
Let's discuss all
Arkin
things.
was there, isn't there?
Let's discuss. He was. Alan Arkin was there.
He was.
Was that when we did our dueling Arkins, or was prior to that?
No, I
We
was
met-
19 when we did so it was 14 years ago.
Dear God
You
Almighty.
came to the set of a TV show that I have a terribly misconceived and ill-fated TV show that I was doing.
Called?
The Closer.
Oh, yes, the
Tom
original
Selleck.
closer.
The original Closer.
The one with Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
The closer that indeed closed out yet another.
Yeah, another chapter of Tom's career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my career, really.
What was I doing on the set of that? How was I visiting?
Don't know.
Nobody
Don't
knows.
know. At Asner, maybe? Were you
Nope.
visiting at Asner?
Who else was on the show?
God.
Definitely didn't stop by to say hello to Tom.
No. I don't
Would
know
have.
why you were there.
Think he's lovely.
Maybe it's something you do. You did at that time. Was just kind of if you were on a lot.
Were you on a
would
lot?
Wander on. We were on a lot.
Which one? Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that might have been it.
You just wander into the stages and.
I might have had an office there for a while to develop
I
something.
see.
Yeah.
But
And so I would
we
wander
did a
around.
brief-
I would check up on all the Warner Brothers. Probably just drop it on the set, really to drop by and check out the craft service.
That was you.
Yeah, that
at
was
that
me.
time.
You guys had great carrots.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
For a while there before.
I haven't been. I've never eaten a carrot.
You need to go with carrots now.
Yeah.
You're
From
gonna go
now
carrot.
on, it's carrot time.
Prior to the numbers,
Yeah.
spelled with a 3,
Yeah.
much,
There's an explanation for that, by the way.
which we're going to,
Okay.
which I'm sure you couldn't possibly be bored to death sharing.
Yeah.
But prior to that, much was written and said in all the research, putting together today's dossier on you.
Yeah.
2 questions I imagine you've only received once.
Okay.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, as in 10 million times. Did you care much for math before the job? Right, never heard that.
No.
Ever.
That's interesting that you asked that question. I wasn't prepared for this.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Well, let me ask you actually.
Yes, I'm willing to answer that question though.
Oh, you're
If
gonna.
if you'd have me.
You're gonna, mister.
Okay.
I like to go a little out of order here whenever possible. If you had to guess estimate how many times did a journalist ask, were you any good at math in school? How long before your answer became a pat answer? And after getting zeros, according to you in one interview, on math tests, according to your own admissions, can you believe you were also eventually quoted in an interview for saying, mathematics is the most finite manner of expressing yourself in our world. It's the bottom line. It's the deepest level you can go, and there's no truth beyond numbers.
Well, I do believe that though.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was taught
Right.
from doing the show.
Right, of course.
Prior to doing the show, I thought math was horseshit.
An absolute waste of time.
Yeah, it was ruining my life.
How so?
Well, I would fail. I was left back in math.
Really?
And, yes.
See, kids, if you just audition and get a job or offered a job and you end up on a television show, you too may give a shit about math.
It's all pretend. I took Algebra 1 3 times, which means I failed it 2 years in a row, and I only squeaked by in that third year.
Is it true that you tried to get a petition signed to remove it from the
I
curriculum?
did. I wanted to start it, but I didn't actually go forward with the petition idea. But it was an idea, because I felt like I had done enough math
Yes.
in terms of what I would most likely use
In life.
going on in life. There was no reason to learn about the Pythagorean theorem or x plus z and all that shit. And I was failing out of school. I was a straight B+ student in all my other classes, and then it was this thing that was like the bane of my existence. And I thought I'm gonna get left back.
Right.
I'm not going to graduate high school because of this thing. And shouldn't it be an elective?
Right.
It should be an elective.
Algebra.
Because absolutely.
Because you're not going to use it.
And let me tell you, the last 2 years of high school, I went to a private school.
I'll say.
And I, paid the big bucks, and I said to them, look, I'm going to pay you this kind of money. I don't want to take pre-calculus or calculus.
You said that to
The administrator at the school.
you did as a
I little
17-year-old.
Because that's how I am.
Uh-huh.
I'm,
And the administrator said,
no problem.
Done.
No problem. Never took pre-calculus or calculus because I knew there was no way I would ever graduate high school.
because you were writing the check for your own tuition,
That's right.
because you were,
And because I was one of the few working actors at the school, and it was a school for actors, and they thought, look, it'll be good press to have him here. And so, I got away with murder. But I did end up, I should have included chemistry in that regard.
knucklehead.
I cheated my way through chemistry.
Is this the professional
entire
children's
time.
school?
Professional children's school. But they're very, They're a very estimable.
Too late.
It's a good institution.
Yeah, if you take kickbacks, they're fantastic.
Well, wait. Do you know Milton Berle graduated from?
We've had
professional
people on the
children's
show
school?
that went
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So there you go. And I'm not the only doofus that's
They call it
graduated
PCS
from
for short, right?
PCS. That's correct.
I'm just curious, were there any obnoxious kids at the professional children's school?
No, not at all. They were all just the sweetest Manhattan socialite children. Wonderful, wonderful children.
So you
Especially on drugs.
Yeah.
They were especially nice when they were completely
you
high
sat
on
in front of probably not a dean, but someone in the administration and said,
Yeah.
listen, before I sign this check, you'd already written out the check, and you're just about to sign, you said,
I said, look, do me a favor.
it's not for nothing.
Not for nothing, but listen,
It's calculus nonsense.
it's blank right now. You want me to put your name on it?
Yeah. How proud must have your Jewish parents been when you were not good with numbers? That must have raised up the family Jew flag.
When I was not good with numbers?
And when you were terrible with math, numbers, Jew.
Well, they worried. I mean,
yeah.
They thought, well, he's not going to be an accountant. That's for sure.
Right.
Which is, a go-to.
Tough to be a doctor.
Tough to be a doctor.
You can't do the math.
I could have been a lawyer, I suppose.
Easily.
But, they don't take much of an interest in me in general.
I see.
Ever. So they didn't really care. And I don't think they ever knew that I had a problem with math.
Or drugs.
They themselves had no, or drugs. They had no idea. They don't know math. My mother still has issues. And my father can't spell. So.
Well.
Yeah. I come from fine. My dad was a postal worker for 30 years, a mailman in the Murray Hill Post Office Station in New York, which is like the 34th Street. When you come out of the Midtown Tunnel from Queens, it's the big black dungeon-esque building that's staring you right in the face. That's where my dad worked for 30 years. And my mother was a part-time dental assistant. So, these were not your typical Jews in terms of, they weren't rich or... if there is a Jewish conspiracy to
they were not a
take
part
all
of it.
I wish someone would have told us.
Right.
Really. But yeah, but they're proud of me now. It took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much then.
No, not so much then.
Only child.
No, I have an older half-sister.
Okay. Which half?
On my mother's side.
Very good.
She's nice.
Sure.
No,
This is video, not
she's
just
half
audio.
a sister. Yeah, no, she's a wonderful lady. She's wonderful. She has an issue that I've just been discussing with her, and she's one of these Facebook people who go on Facebook and post really flowery life affirmations all day fucking long. Yes.
Oh. There's an intervention team for that.
There should be. There ought to be. And if there is, please, I'll take the number if you know of it afterwards.
Send it to contact.
I feel bad for her. Yeah. But I love her, but it's terribly embarrassing. And many times I just want to, comment, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
You want to, but you haven't.
I don't care if your newborn baby inspires you beyond creation and you love every breath of this life.
Actually, you do
I don't
care.
need to know that.
You don't want to read about it.
I don't want to read, and I don't want people who know I'm your brother to read about it.
Yeah, that's really the issue, isn't it? Yeah. I think no more calls, pencils down. We've gotten to the core of the issue.
That's it. We're here.
Yeah.
Wow, we went deep.
It's
only been about 3 minutes.
I tried to get you to talk about the Santa Claus, and here we are 3 minutes later talking about this
we go
horrible
straight to the issue.
sister
That's
half
right.
person.
She's nice though.
So you're on the Facebook.
I'm on the Facebook. Yeah, but I don't want people. I don't like Facebook.
Well, tell me.
I think it's a stupid device.
Tell me any positive about it, because I'm not on it, and I don't see any possible reason to be on it.
Oh, it's great, but terrible at the same time. I only friend people who I know.
Sure.
So fans try to friend me all the time, and I never respond. And then I get messages from them like douchebag because
Sure.
I didn't friend them. It's ridiculous. But here's the two benefits. One's kind of morbid. If someone dies nowadays,
Someone in your life?
no one calls you. And someone in your life who maybe you worked with a year ago who you really enjoyed, no one calls you. This is the new way of communicating, Facebook. I worked with a guy on numbers, a crew member who I deeply loved, and he got sick, and I didn't know what happened to him. And I suppose if I really deeply loved him, I should have taken his phone number and caught up with him. But anyway, he passed away.
You loved him to a point that you would give a shit if he died.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he passed away, And one day I get a call, luckily, from the creator of Numbers, and she says, hey, are you going to the memorial service today? I said, what memorial service? Said, oh, for his name is Kenny. Kenny. I said, what? And I didn't know. And it was because the entire crew was on Facebook, and they had all told each other on Facebook. So it's very good for knowing when people die.
So you had denied the crew access to your Facebook page.
I wasn't on Facebook at that point.
I see.
That made me get the account.
Oh.
Yes, and I did show up to the memorial service.
So here's a legitimate reason.
Yes.
Keep track of people's death.
Big time.
Okay.
Big time.
Used to be you'd go to the paper and read the obituaries.
No, now
Long gone.
it's Facebook. The other one is, and the most enjoyable, is to see all the little children that you grew up with become fat and bald and have little children of their own. That's the best. It's the best. There are people that, it's shocking. You know, I'll see their pictures and I think, oh my God, they became, you know, what they feared they would become.
Sure.
When they were 8.
J-Mac, I've never heard him have so much fun his entire life.
And these are the women you're talking about, fat and bald.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I went to school with a lot of Indian women, East Indian women. They get bald. They lose their hair quick.
At PCS?
No, we're
Before
talking
that.
elementary school.
Okay.
There used to be you'd have to go to class reunions for this sort of thing. Facebook being the ultimate
Facebook
high
is
school
the class
experience.
reunion, yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it was based on college, which I never believed. It's based on high school. It's based on high school beliefs and cliques, and
Plus, at a reunion, you actually have to spend time with people.
this is the best possible place.
You get to see all their ridiculous pictures, their Halloween pictures, or
So
that kind of stuff.
let's review. Be made aware of the passing of someone you cared about.
Very important.
Very, very important.
Oh, sure.
Also, keep track of how horribly life has turned out for people that you didn't necessarily care about
That's right.
when you grew up.
Yes. And because I didn't care about anyone, it's a joy to see them all suffering. To be honest with you.
All right.
It's a joy.
I have only just a couple more questions before the cross-examination.
Whoa. All right.
Growing up in Queens, we'll get to when you turn 13, this sort of stuff has been discussed, and your mom tells you and your derelict friends, there's an open casting call, you guys should all go. Prior to that, no interest whatsoever? In the acting and the thing on the TV and the movies?
No, not really. I mean, I think...
Where did you think you were headed at 12? Not that a lot of kids.
I had dreams. I had big dreams, you know, that are all dashed now by this awful thing I've chosen
And
to do.
hopefully someone somewhere, much like Facebook, is celebrating the loss of your dreams.
Thank you. I hope so. I think I wanted to be a neurosurgeon at one point.
A brain
'Cause I was-
surgeon?
Yeah.
Sure.
Which is, you know, aiming pretty high
Not at all.
for a guy who couldn't do any math.
What? How does that dream?
I don't know. It was something about helping people and, you know, brain stuff. And, you know, where can you help people the most? With the brain.
In their brain. Something about helping people flies in the face of, I can't wait to see pictures of people having miserable lives
true.
on Facebook.
And thus the dichotomy of...
No, well, you evolved. At 12, you cared.
I did.
You gave a shit about your fellow man and woman.
I did. And then the next year is when I became an actor.
And,
So it
and,
was
and
then-
technically an asshole.
And then I only started caring about myself.
Right, because
Exactly.
we're trained to do this.
That's right.
Yeah. Look out for you and everybody else is a shitbone.
Yeah.
What a wonderful...
I regret it every fucking day.
So neurosurgeon, what age
Neurosurgeon.
are we talking that actually...
Probably 10.
Okay.
Once I knew it existed, I thought, oh, that's something I could be.
Now, was it science that you
I
were
remember
sort of-
wanting also to be a barber at one point.
Right in there with brain surgeon. Back in the 1800s, this was the same guy.
That's right.
By the way. Haircut and a shave and skin.
Well, because I had these,
And find the
the
lesion.
guys that would cut my hair in my neighborhood were these old, really distinguished gentlemen, old Italian guys who owned a barber shop in my small neighborhood of Forest Hills, Queens. And it was always quite an adventure going to get a haircut because they talked to each other in Italian and they were all very, and my particular barber, he was like, he had a pencil thin sort of John Waters-esque mustache. And he was one of those guys, you ever go to an Italian restaurant and they try to, and the guy comes out and lists the specials and it's this very sort of,
Flowery.
yeah, like we have a nice slice extra thin and they really get into it. That was like my barber, but with my hair.
I'm going to slice your hair extra
I'm going to
thin.
make a nice, wait till you see what I'm going to do back. See that? Is that not unbelievable? And so I thought, this guy is awesome. I want to be that. because I had no concept of money.
Well, he was on a
whatsoever.
stage also, least we forget.
I guess so.
Maybe you were inspired by his performance.
You know,
Could
you're
I be
probably
that
right.
therapist for you?
The fact of the matter is, you're
Yes.
probably right. And I've always been schmaltzy. I've always had a little bit of extra schmaltz.
Sure.
And so it was destined to be that I would become an actor, whether I liked it or like it to this day or not.
Right.
And I don't like it anymore.
No, you don't care for it? Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
All right. So the Italian barber brings another thing to mind.
My mustache?
No.
Oh.
I'm enjoying the mustache.
Thank you.
It's the incredible, thick, wavy hair
Oh,
that
yeah.
some Jews are allowed to have, and others wear a hat.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious for people who are fortunate enough to get
Yeah.
the good hair cards.
I got that good hair.
As Jimmy Miller used to say, bald Jimmy Miller used to say about his brother Dennis got the hair cards. Are you aware that the rest of us are out there suffering, or is it not even because the people who are suffering? It's an obsession.
Before we move on, does Jimmy Miller have eyebrows?
Yes, he doesn't have the
doesn't?
disease
Okay.
where it all goes away.
You're right. He doesn't have alopecia. What you're
That's
saying.
the disease.
There you go.
Correct. Continue.
And so, am I?
Are you aware?
I'm aware
that
that I
there
have.
is this hair obsession going on for the people who are losing it and don't have enough of it.
Well, look,
When you have this,
I'll tell you what. I am losing my hair. I am.
now we have a reason to celebrate.
If you want, I'll part it and show you the. I'm not going.
I'm gonna take your
But
word.
right around here,
I'm going to take your word.
there's a bit of a comb over thing happening right now.
78.
Is
You were born in
how old I'll
78.
die? Oh yes.
You were born in 78.
Yes, 78 is when I was.
I mean, this
born.
is all over the
I
internet.
thought you were predicting my death.
No.
I was born in 1978, so I'm 33.
Right.
So it's about time I lose some of it.
Well, it's about time you saw a sign of it.
But I can't go bald because I look like a 12-year-old, even with the mustache. So this bald is your worst immigrant nightmare. It's I'll be doing Hungarian films and that kind of and the like. Not a good thing.
One of your parents,
You know who will never go bald? Bald,
Please.
by the way,
Please.
or bold. Mm-hmm. Levine.
Sam Levine.
Nah,
That's a thick head of hair.
hey, it's
What is Doug Benson's nickname for you?
Lil Wolverine.
It's true.
Yeah. Swarthy.
Yeah, lucky. Yeah, so that's the thing, is you kind of take it for granted, or it's annoying that I have this thick hair until it starts to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I bet.
And then it's the great race.
Oh, it's not annoying.
No?
No,
But
it's
you're
wonderful.
doing okay up there.
You mean the hat? The hat does fantastic.
That's real nice.
I was my first real motion picture in the 1989. A chance we both got to work with Barry Levinson. He did the Barry Levinson Baltimore-based film right after Avalon, Liberty Heights.
Yeah.
We're going to need to talk about Barry next. The costumer, Academy Award-winning wardrobe, when dressing me for the 1940s suits, said, let's put a hat on you. You have a hat face.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And it stuck.
It works, I gotta say.
I do have a hat face. Barry Levinson. Now, my experience with Barry, as I've talked about on the show, was that he's a brilliant writer and brilliant at casting, and then a phantom director. He gets a great DP and almost refused to direct. He would come over, if this was a scene between you and me, he'd come to the table and say, okay, David, you have the mug there, and Kevin, you got some notes, and he'd go over by the monitor, and action. Cut. Astounding. That was astounding.
Right.
David, you have you've got the mic and the shirt and the jacket, and Kevin, you're wearing a hat. Action. There was never any.
Yes,
What
I
was your
agree with you.
experience like?
The same. We had a great DP.
Was it Alan Davio? No.
No, it was Chris. Fucking Jesus, I don't know.
Everybody
Chris,
on IMDb just got there.
Who was great. And he had done a bunch of Hong Kong action films, I think, this
I'll
guy.
say.
And then he does one of Barry Levinson's Baltimore films, Liberty Heights. And so, yeah, he would go to his trailer in between setups.
Barry.
The second we checked the gate, it wasn't, hey, here's what I want to do next. It was, I'll be back in 20 minutes when he decides what we want to do next, and then we set it up. Very nice guy, though. And I actually like a director like that.
Who gets the fuck out of your way?
Who gets the fuck out of my way? Although sometimes I need it. I need direction.
Do you?
On that one, I didn't need so much. I'll be honest with you. Because I was kind of playing my dad, and it was easy. Mm-hmm. There was only one time that Levinson interfered, and it was an awkward circumstance.
Interfered with your...
I'll tell you what happened.
Please.
So, the character Adrian Brody played in the movie, he had two friends. I played one of them, and the other was played by an actor named Kevin Sussman. Great actor, great guy. And it was Kevin's first film. Mm-hmm. And I was, I think, 19 or 20. I think it was 19. Kevin was a little older than me. And, Kevin was very privileged to be there. And...
you felt bored with the whole thing?
No, I was having a great time.
Right.
So, I was very privileged to be there as well. And Kevin had a monologue. Kevin Sussman had a monologue about this girl that he had met and trying to ask a girl out. And we all stayed in the same hotel in Baltimore, and we'd all gotten along famously.
Ate at O'Bricky's a couple times for crabs?
I don't recall that.
It was a place with the butcher block paper, and Barry would call ahead and make sure they get the large crabs.
Barry Levinson never took me to dinner.
That son of a bitch.
I was lower on the totem pole.
I understand.
It was a big cast, Montaigne. It was like Montaigne, and then me. So, anyway. So this kid and I, Kevin, had gotten along really well. And we spent the whole time hanging out. And he couldn't wait to do his monologue. And he was very, very nervous about his monologue. Now, meanwhile, we're filming scenes where I have some major stuff, and Levinson is loving everything I'm doing. And I frankly feel like I'm kicking ass in the film.
And you were.
And on the moment we go to film this scene, Levinson comes to us, and he says, I'm giving me the monologue. Okay? Now, the guy has been, so I look over and I see in a moment the blood rush out of this poor guy's face, Kevin Sussman, who's a great actor.
Your new best friend at that point.
Right, who had been my best friend the whole time. I felt terrible, and I refused to do it. And I think...
With an explanation.
With an explanation, I said, look, he really wants to do it,
And Barry said...
And Barry was a little angry. I think Barry was a little ticked off, because this was Barry's vision, and the vision was how great it would be if Krumholtz did it. But he had to understand the politics, the social politics of the moment. Mm. There's no way I could do that to my friend.
Could he articulate his reasons for, I understand your predicament, but this is more important?
He could not.
Right.
He could not. Because he would have had to have said, look, I think you're doing a better job, or whatever it is.
Right.
Or I like your character more. I couldn't do it. Very awkward moment. Of many in my career, but that was a big one.
Let's go to the next one.
Next one. This is 19. What year was that? Anyway, so
Sussman ends up doing the monologue.
Sussman ends up doing the monologue, and
frankly, you would have done it better.
I'll just say this: there was tension on the set at that moment.
You think?
And he was doing the monologue, and he was trying extra hard because he knew it was stolen from him.
Oh God!
Perpetually, and so the final take of it. It didn't land well any time, and the final take of the monologue, I ad-libbed, who gives a shit?
At the end of the monologue?
At the end of the monologue, and Brody and Levinson cracked up, and Levin said, oh, that's the one I'm going to use. But he cut the whole thing out of the movie.
He cut the monologue out of the movie?
He cut the poor guy's monologue out of the movie.
So really,
but Kevin is still great in the film, and he's gone on to great, very successful things, and
Could one, in fact, attempt to connect these dots and suggest that
I hope not.
Your solidarity, ultimately, while pissing in the face of the leader, was the reason that Sussman's monologue ultimately got cut.
Oh, God. I've never thought of it. I've never thought of it that way.
There's not a chance in it.
Why probable?
Just trying to have a little fun.
All right.
And also we have Barry Levinson now Skyped in from Baltimore.
Oh, great.
Let's get his take on it. Barry, this is a bit of a surprise for our guest, but go ahead, put Barry up.
I just saw my hair on the monitor for a brief moment.
Crazy fantastic.
I'm not happy with it at all.
What do you mean?
I don't know what's happening today.
Go back to his hair.
Oh, no, it is good. It's good. We're good, folks.
All right, let's go to Barry now. Barry's location scouting for his 5th set Baltimore epic called Hey, Those Are My Balls. No Barry Levinson.
Those are my balls, Tamor.
Nice.
Sorry.
I see what you did.
Yeah.
All right,
That was an easy one.
so before we get to Michael J. Fox and Nathan Lane, which, believe me, we need to go to.
Wow.
Please,
All right.
please.
This is your life.
A little bit.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This is your failed career.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Television.
Well, it's right now. I'm not doing so well.
Please. By the way, have you heard the phrase ebb and flow?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? We should do Jews commiserating. We should really do Jew actors not pleased with the way things are going with their career.
I'll just
Well, you
pull
know
this
the-
chair right up to the table.
Please.
Please. You know the Humphrey Bogart thing, right? Where
Keep talking.
At the end of every film, Humphrey, this famous story was that he would be convinced he would never work again.
Jimmy
He'd
Stewart,
go-
same exact thing.
Right, and he'd go and get shit-faced and completely wasted and cry and scream and yeah.
I'm pointing at Jamie because she does a wonderful impression.
No. We're friends with Lauren Bacall's son, and so we always do this this bit about.
You might know him,
like,
Sam Robards,
Yes,
I don't know him,
New
but
Yorker.
okay.
Yeah.
but no, we just always have this bit about how Bogey hated everything.
Yeah.
That's all.
Bogey hated Charnock,
Yes.
for example.
What's the thing? I mean, some of us are real bitter, angry people, and I'm a terrible person. As
Well, this was kind of the
a
reason.
little acid reflux comes up.
Interesting how that worked.
Yeah.
It's kind of why I wanted you on the show.
Are we working out my issues? Is that what?
I was told by your lovely bride that you refused to go to therapy and asked if I would have you on the show and try to get to the
Oh, if only that were true.
The
I would save
emotional-
so much money if I got it.
center of the issues. When I was 12-ish, 12 and a half-ish, I used my startling ability to lip sync Bill Cosby's first album, specifically In the Ark Routine, to land the starring role in a local theater production about a family having a bar mitzvah. And at age 13, shortly before my own bar mitzvah, I'm starring in this musical in local theater
Wow.
called A Twist of Rye. Right? Everyone knows it. I don't need to be a jerk about it. And so when I saw in your dossier that around that same time of your life, your mom, as I mentioned at the top, sort of was telling you and your friends, anyways, according to the record, there's open casting call for this Broadway play, conversations with my father, maybe you should go. Please, jump in right here.
This is like a Wikipedia moment.
Never
It
happened.
was actually not my mom.
Great.
It was my my 7th grade or 8th grade drama. I was doing.
Aha.
I did plays in school.
Aha.
I enjoyed doing the school plays.
At the age of 10, 11, 12?
Well,
Shortly
yeah,
after the
because
brain surgery
even
thing?
though I didn't want to become an actor, I knew I was the shit, and so I would do plays.
I love the dichotomy.
It's
I'm bitter and unhappy. I'm the shit.
I
That's a
deal
beautiful.
with it myself.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, he's the one that said, because what they were doing at the time with open calls, because that was kind of a popular thing that they were doing
In New York.
in the early 90s. I don't know if you remember, but during that time they started to do all these commercials that weren't commercials at all. They were commercials, but what they were they would go on the street and interview real people about a product. And they became all the craze because you'd get candid reactions. to
Testimonials?
products. Yeah, and you'd feel like, oh, these are real people.
They were
Right,
all, in
testimonials.
fact, staged.
Probably.
Right.
But they thought, oh, real people are the new thing
Sure.
instead of fake, phony, especially with kids.
And it's
These
back
phony-
again now with Jersey Shore and these other shows.
Right. But these phony kid actors, they didn't want any of that. So they were doing a lot of open calls. And in New York, what they would do is they would just, go to public schools with flyers and hand the flyers out to all the teachers. And they'd say, hey, if you know a kid that you think is kind of funny or talented and can do this specifically or look like this specifically, this is the kind of role we're casting, send him down. And my teacher said, hey, they're trying to cast Judd Hirsch's son. And you're a funny kid. You look like Judd Hirsch, which was a curse, really, and continues to be. even though he's a nice gentleman.
When you can out there, producers, let's have a little side-by-side photo of Judd Hirsch and our guest today to show the audience just how horribly wrong the image is in our guest's mind and that they look nothing alike. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So now I'm looking at myself and going, yeah. Anyway, so he told me to go in and audition for this thing.
The junior high drama teacher.
Correct.
All right. So must have been hundreds of kids.
I think it was over 1,000 kids, because it's New York, so
Sure.
a lot of kids come out. Even though they say they want them to look like Judd Hirsch, you have Puerto Rican kids and black kids show up, anybody to get an acting job. So it was a lot of kids, and I was number 88, I remember, because I got there real early. And I actually went down there with a comedian, a now comedian, who I went to school with, who's actually blowing up right now, who you should have on the show, who's brilliant. It's a guy named Billy Eichner.
I'm hearing left and right about this guy in the street, the microphone.
Billy on the street.
Yeah.
I grew up with him. And he actually had an agent. He was a professional actor at the time.
Aha.
So the guy said, hey, he gave us both the flyer. And we said, let's go down. So I went with my mom and him, and we auditioned. I was number 88. And yeah. And then I was an actor.
And for you, at this age of 13, is any of it seem real, what it means to be in a Broadway play?
No.
Couldn't, right?
No, not at all. It couldn't, yeah. It was...
Because also I imagine it being your first, or one of the first, big auditions of this size, and you get the part,
Yeah.
your sense memory is, this is fucking easy.
Right. Well, yeah.
Without all the rejection.
Oh, yeah. It was incredible. I knew it was an amazing stroke of luck.
Oh, okay.
And karmically, I still am paying off my debt to that stroke, I suppose you should say. And I'm going to have a stroke
Right.
because of it. But yeah.
You mean in terms of the luck?
Yeah. I often feel like it was sort of some weird divine intervention. Because I really do believe, with all my neurosurgeon dreams, I would have become a miscreant of some sort, a deviant of some sort.
You would have served time at one point.
I think so. Honestly, I would have been that Jew.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about? The one that the
The
family...
bitch Jew, I think, is what we're looking for.
Yes. The bitch Jew.
Or the Jew bitch.
That's right. I would have become the Jew bitch. And instead, this thing happened. So I often think about that. But anyway, yeah, and then all of a sudden, I didn't read the play until 4 years later and understand it. When I was about 17 or 18, I thought, maybe I should understand what I did.
So you're just memorizing lines and doing scenes.
Memorizing lines like a robot.
Getting laughs from the audience.
Getting laughs, not knowing what I was doing right or wrong.
But that's the part that must have felt good, which is getting the laughs from the audience in front of a live theater setting. And
oh, I was in love with it. I mean, I thought, ooh, this is going to be my life. I was convinced I was going to win a Tony Award.
Sure.
And I had no problem telling people that.
Which is, you go from precocious to cocky in about 9 minutes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, because it's adorable.
Totally innocent to...
If you look up on your screen now, if David, you look at me.
See, but I have the mustache.
If David, if you look at me, I see a similarity in hair. Well, you're making a face. But
It's close. I could be his son, let's face it.
Or
No?
his grandson.
Or his grand... You know, Judd Hirsch is like, I think, 76.
I'm going to go grandson to block.
And he's a great man. I just want to say I love Judd Hirsch.
Didn't you play his grandson
I played his son.
and then his grandson?
No, I played his son in both things.
Can I say how wonderful it is that
You said you watched every episode. son of a bitch.
I'm messing with you.
Judd Hirsch loved on Taxi, loved most of his work that he's ever done. He's always rock solid until he sets our people back 100 years with hawking the president aboard Air Force One in Independence Day. You don't have a cracker? The president don't have a cracker? Oh my God, I wanted to set him on fire. What happened?
You should ask Judd about that. Because Judd has feelings about how that was...
I'm sure he was directed to be that monkey.
He's not crazy about being the king of all Jews.
Yes, neither was Jesus. One little tidbit of Nathan Lane is all I'm really looking for.
Okay.
If there's anything. You must
Nathan was...
Were you still like 14, 15 when this
I was
happened?
14.
Yeah.
He was very, very sweet.
Life
I'll
with
tell you-
Mikey was the name of the movie.
Life with Mikey, my first film. And I will say briefly two things. The little girl in the film was an actress named Christina Vidal, and she also got the part in An Open Call. And one day he was on set, and he was looking for his coffee, and he found it because it had been moved, and he drank it, and he realized that she had spit her gum in the coffee.
Nathan.
You asked for tidbits. I know that's random.
Oh, no, I want this.
And he was very distressed.
Was he?
Oh, sure. He drank coffee with someone's gum in it. A child's gum, no less. And the other tidbit I'll have is I saw him maybe about 5 or 6 years later sitting out on the terrace at Wolfgang Puck Cafe over, sitting out on the patio, I should say, at Wolfgang Puck Cafe over at Sunset Lemley, which is no longer there. Lemley's there, but not Wolfgang Puck Cafe.
Right.
Crying his eyes out. And I don't know why. And I thought, oh my God.
On the outdoor cafe in front of America.
Hysterical crying. And I don't know, I don't know specifically why. But now that I've been an actor for quite some time, I can assume he was just having one of those actor breakdown moments. But I mean, really bawling. And I was with my friend, and I said, oh, there's Nathan Lane. I was potentially going to go over and say hi, and then he was bawling.
I love the heart of the actor that's in you now that went with the assumption it's got to be acting related. It's got to be actor related. You couldn't possibly be crying about his personal life.
No one
death
died.
of a family member.
Absolutely not.
He didn't get the pilot.
The uncertainty of his life had crept up on him.
Now,
at Wolfgang Puck
Cafe.
Pizza Cafe.
may I, if you will?
Sammy, please.
Oh.
You told me once a story from my life with Mikey.
Sam Levine, by the way, is mini-me. Have you noticed?
I've also shared that moniker.
We should play brothers sometime. Anyway, or father-son.
In the Kevin Pollak
The rate
story.
it's going, I'm
Go
thinking
ahead.
father-son.
And before he continues, because I told him I would lay into him a little bit today, this is the God's honest truth.
Yes?
In my worst mind about myself, I believe that I'm somewhat off-putting, a little obnoxious, and I think I'm like Sam Levine. I'm as off-putting as Sam Levine. And honestly, this is a real thought that goes through my head many, many times, especially when I'm around Judd Apatow.
Oh.
I think he just sees the Levine in me. He doesn't see anything else. I'll never shake it. Go on.
You know, my parents are watching. Thank you for that. So you and your mother took a tour on a Hollywood tour bus.
That's correct. Oh, I'll tell that story.
Please tell that story.
I was 15 the first time I...
For the record, he takes a shot, you offer up a loving retrospect.
No, he's always been like that.
Okay.
And I still continue to lay.
I don't know how I achieved this reputation.
It's called
I think
the high
I'm a pretty
ground.
nice guy.
It's called the high ground.
Kevin,
Enjoy it.
I am holding back.
I understand.
I mean, honestly, I could
sense.
go
Out of
for a
respect.
while.
Out of respect.
Out of respect.
I understand.
For you, not for him.
No.
So my first time I was in LA, I was 15. So this is 1900 and this is 1995, I guess.
Sure.
No, three. Four, three.
On a need to care basis, please.
Doesn't
move on.
matter. So I was here filming a movie, and so I was thrilled to be here. You
Mom,
know, Hollywood,
please, come out.
with the mother, and we said, hey, let's take a tour of the stars' homes. You know, which is a thing that a lot of kid actors do. You know,
And then
before you
look at
realize
you look at their gates.
That's
and their
right.
Hedges.
So my mom gets on the bus and she tells the bus driver, hey, you know, my son's an actor, and he just did a movie with Michael J. Fox. And they goes, oh yeah, Graham, I've heard it 1,000 times. You know. Crack pipe, let's go. And so he takes off, and we're driving down Sunset Boulevard, and we come to the corner of La Cienega and Sunset. I'll never forget it. The pink dot was there, and it's been there for many, many years. It was there, and standing on the corner waiting for the light to change to go across the street from north to south is Michael J. Fox. Okay? So I notice him. I say, it's Michael J. Fox. And the guy, the bus driver, is like, oh my God, it really is Michael J. Fox. And the people on the tour was just me, my mother, and 3 guys straight from Ireland. Okay? And so the van pulls over right in front of him. And of course, later, Michael actually told me that he was like, fuck, shit.
They got me.
They got me. They spotted me. And I come out. And he's like, what the
He
fuck?
thinks it's candid camera.
He thinks it's a joke. But I say, hey, you know. And the bus driver was very impressed.
Sure, now.
And he was actually thrilled, Michael was, because he's Irish, and there were these 3 Irish guys, and he's Canadian, but I think he's Irish descent.
Right.
And here were these 3 Irish guys, and so he felt fine about the whole thing. It wasn't that intrusive, but there you go. That's the story.
What are the chances? That falls under what are the chances?
I think there's less of a chance of that happening than what happened with your friend Myra. Matt Myra, is that his name?
Matt Myra?
Yeah.
You think there's less of a chance?
If you think about what that I had to have done a movie, I had to have been in that van. It's close. It's close. It's close to Myra.
Also, Los Angeles is much larger than Las Vegas.
Wow.
Let's be honest.
And a comedian in Las Vegas.
I'm gonna put the odds
Although
on
a
your
movie star in
stories
Los Angeles.
somewhere in the area of 5 million to 1.
Wow.
I'm gonna say
Thank
it was twice as unlikely.
See,
as-
he's
as
always nice to me, no
Yeah.
matter what.
Well, it's called the high road. He enjoys it.
it takes so little effort too. It takes more effort
Yeah.
to. No,
No,
you
I'm
know.
proud of you. You've become quite an upstanding half man.
Thank you very much. I almost appreciate that.
Were you pals with the Gordon Levitt, Joseph?
Yeah.
Prior to working together in the 10 Things I Hate
No,
About You?
I thought he sucked, so I wasn't friends with anyone I didn't respect. But yeah, then when I worked with him, I enjoyed. And now he's terrific. I love him.
No competitiveness?
And he doesn't call me back, which is sad. I
wonder
called
why.
him the other day, left a message, never called me back. Competitiveness, it's interesting that you sensed that and asked that question. Maybe so, maybe so. Now there is, big time. I would love his career. No, I'm really happy for him. He's a sweet guy. Have you ever met him?
I've not. We're huge fans. He's turned into a truly extraordinary talent
Yeah.
in terms of all the angles he can come at you with.
Oh, yeah.
All the clubs in the bag.
He's a quadruple threat.
It's ridiculous. This thing on Saturday Night Live, right, was the thing that really caught
Right, the
you with the
opening
singing
monologue.
and the dancing and the
The
jumping off the walls.
yeah, that was amazing. And he's an incredible musician. Plays about 5 instruments. It's just he's a perfect person.
And this is what troubles you?
And he gets laid a lot. Good for him.
Is he happily married like yourself?
He's not happily married. He's happily getting laid constantly with random women.
and you
he's,
think that's better than being happily married? That's what I'm sensing.
He has. Well, no. I enjoy being married. He has a thing that I'm not afforded, which is he's a Jew that doesn't look like a Jew.
Oh boy.
And
He walks right
I
past the
can
Nazis,
never-
flipping them
that's
off.
it.
Not a problem.
And Gordon Levitt.
Where are you going with that?
We know as Jews that that's probably Jewish, but the world doesn't know. You hear Krumholtz, David Krumholtz.
Good night.
I'm screwed. And with
I
this face,
disagree. I love
Really?
Jewish men. Love
Thank
them.
you.
My dream man is Harold Ramis from the 70s, 80s. Like
you,
that.
Jamie.
I love Jewish men. Love them.
You're not alone, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
not.
no.
There's
a
Jewish
lot of-
men having sex all over the world.
Asian women love Jewish.
Now we have a problem.
No.
Well, I'm
you're
not
hitting a sore spot
stereotyping.
with me.
I've just noticed.
Because they take all my Jewish men,
Oh,
and I
so
get upset.
I'm right about it.
You are.
I think it's a trend.
And Jewish men love Asian women. I don't like Asian women. That's just me.
So you get applause
No
from
offense.
me.
That
Two of my
Dr.
best
Chen?
friends are
That's
just
Dr.
Asian.
Chen.
Dr.
No
Chen just
Dr.
stormed off the
Chen.
show.
I don't dislike them for any particular.
Well, by
I
the
don't mean
way-
to- I could like one.
To clarify,
Yes.
when you
It's
say
just not my thing.
When you say I don't like, to clarify, you mean not my cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea.
in
Sexually,
terms of attraction.
That's right.
In terms of sexual interest.
I've had many good female Asian friends.
fantastic waitresses.
Great. They're great blackjack dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And we should stop.
No, you look great in the hole down there. But I think it's become a trend. The Jew man
yeah.
and the Asian gal.
Oh yeah.
Because we could not have this conversation 10 years ago. It would be, what are you talking about?
Right.
Never seen this.
Right. No, it's a big trend.
And to attach the word prevalent would be fair in terms of an occasion.
I would think it's pervasive
Well,
in our
yes.
culture at this point.
Some would argue.
Yeah.
Let's take 3 more calls on the topic.
There's people. Okay.
I do like to involve our audience.
Nice.
We have someone from the Twitter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Are you enjoying yourself on the Twitter?
I cursed someone out earlier today on the Twitter, but yeah, I like Twitter.
What was your cause for cursing somebody out?
I'm very sensitive about my career right now, and he said that I was. He called me a one-hit wonder and said I have a shitty career and I do shitty movies. So for no reason, I was totally nice to the guy.
So rather than appreciating it was a power play on his part, and it would be the only way that he could possibly gain some sort of leverage, which is to upset you.
Right.
You let him know in an instant with your tweet that he had in fact won.
I suppose, but I said some pretty nasty shit that probably made me feel gnarly.
Can I make a tweet suggestion?
Yes.
From my time on the tweet?
Yes.
When someone is that fucking awful and snarky for no apparent reason, a total stranger, if you simply retweet it without any comment, just offer it up for everyone who follows you.
They'll get it.
They'll go after that fucker with a fishing knife.
My Twitter's broken. I tried, I swear to you, this actually happened. I tried retweeting it, it wouldn't retweet. Something's wrong with my Twitter. I actually couldn't tweet about the Giants earlier today.
Oh.
New York Giants. I don't know, something was going
David,
on.
this
I
is
could tweet
terrible.
I said some really nasty
This
stuff.
is...
I know, I went far. I
Sammy?
went there. I talked about his potentially dead mother and these kinds of things.
Sammy, since this is now a public...
it is a matter of public record.
It is a matter of public record. Please regale us. Do you have the beginning
I'll just...
of the conversation?
This is just one... I'm just going to... And there's several to choose from. And these are all questions. And your shitty life, what does it consist of? Shitty children? Shitty wife? Sounds like it. Long Island loser.
To the point?
That was the first one. That was the first thing I said.
Did it get worse?
It did. Go on.
Yeah. I got money and success. You have Twitter and alcohol. Your mother, dead or alive, sucks a good fat cock.
No more calls.
Hang on. Hang on.
We have a winner.
And that's why I like Twitter.
Yeah.
Here is, and the final, and this is really just racist tea partying piece of dog shit. I'm sure and this is all caps, this last part. I'm sure your shitty children are proud that dad tweets pics of giant clits on Twitter.
Because this guy says he's a father and everything, and then one of his pictures is of a giant clit.
What do you mean, one of his pictures?
It's a picture of a woman spread eagle. You know how they have picture, you can post pictures on Twitter, yeah?
Sure.
And you can see all the pictures the person has tweeted.
Oh, if you go through the library of photos that
well, his most recent picture is a picture of a woman spread eagle who happens to have an enormous clitoris.
I didn't know you could tweet pornography.
And I thought, my God, here's this person saying, you can't. So he got away with something.
Maybe not. Let's call this fucker out. Maybe he goes to jail.
His name is James J. from LI.
And then an hour ago he apologized.
James J.
to you.
from, he did?
He did. He said,
I
did
here.
go to attack mode. I'm a dick. I'll admit that. Sorry, Dave. Is everyone happy now?
It worked. I did win.
Which is surprising because usually that's what these people want is
Yeah.
exactly what you did.
Yeah.
Like they
They
want
want you to
fight
fall
with
prey.
them. So yeah, you're like,
Well, I did then ask also, I asked my Twitter followers to bomb him.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
If you just RT the guy,
Right.
you don't have to ask your followers.
They just go after him.
I mean, people have been doing this for a long time. I don't mean to suggest that I've created something. I stumbled upon it. Someone was snarky crazy went after me once, and I just RT'd it without any comment because I thought, this is hilarious. This guy is filled with hate. I wonder if everyone's going to enjoy this as much as I am. And everyone who follows me went after this guy.
Yeah, that's the way.
And it was
that's the
kind of
best
beautiful.
thing to do. I got to say briefly,
Please.
I have issues with Twitter in terms of what it's doing to me, because that dark side comes out on Twitter, and I've been in I've actually discussed Twitter in therapy at length, because I don't want to ruin my career with what I'm posting, and sometimes I go a little too far, like the fat cock comment or or pointing out the clitoris thing. But and sometimes I feel terrible about Twitter, and that's the danger of Twitter for me, is that
Well,
I
the
go
real
too far.
time sharing your thoughts has caused a number of celebrities problems.
Yeah, but because I'm barely a celebrity,
I think
it's
you're
caused
okay.
me none.
I think you're okay.
Yeah.
But more to the point, the argument could be made that before, because I've certainly experienced this, when filled with bile, regard for something, and you want to comment it on Twitter, no question of stepping back and counting to 10. Oh my, does that do a world of
I've
good.
become better at it.
Count to 100. maybe.
Maybe,
in
yeah.
your case.
I think I need a longer count.
You have fans on Twitter.
I do.
They love you very much, and they ask questions directly through the show to you.
Wonderful.
We like to involve one. This one comes from @RedBakerson. Do you remember a pony ride in Queens near Kissena Park? Kissena Park?
Kissena
Park.
No.
Thank you. Next up, we have from @BamBamVictoria.
Oh, she's one of my favorites. You should follow her. She's actually very funny.
All right.
She's great.
Acting Schmacting, how has Twitter changed your life? I think we just heard that one.
Yeah, I think she knows full well. She doesn't have to ask. You know well enough.
Yeah.
She's great, though.
All right, well, we'll check her out @BamBamVictoria. And since we're talking about Twitter, since we've opened up the channels, I think it's important. We have not done this on the show in a couple of months involving our hiatus, and last week, because Ed O'Neill is not on the tweet, as it were. It's time, I believe, to play the game that swept the nation, if not the world, called Who Tweeted?
T5! T5!
No, not even close.
T5 forever now.
Huh?
T5!
Yeah. Oh, good, they're playing it again.
T5!
It's not enough to make a mistake. You want to
forever
repeat it. We're still not ready. While they look for our...
There it is.
Oh, look, it's Sammy in 3.
That's a picture of Sam?
Celebrities
I didn't
have
realize.
so much to say.
Who tweeted?
Looks like
Is the
Shmuley.
game we're gonna play.
Which
The
should
jeweler.
be which should be my Hebrew name. I should be Shmuel,
Yeah, you are
but I'm
Shmuley,
not.
that's
I'm
true.
Shimon for some reason. I think my father just didn't know his Hebrew that well. Hey guys.
Hey, how are
Hey.
you? Sammy, you're
going?
here to explain how the game works.
I am.
Alrighty.
I am, and boy, you're gonna have fun.
This shot just became about 500% more Jewish.
I
with him
do.
just stepping
That's when they say on a TV show we're looking to hire someone ethnic.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy who can get by with. Well, he's very Jewish. That still counts
Nice.
when they want to hire me. All right, so your three
I look like
tweeters.
Ryan Gosling compared to him.
We lost all of our
It's
Nazi
true.
followers.
It's true.
Like that.
Just like that.
Tyra, Paris,
Right.
Bieber.
Ooh.
Okay, those are your three choices.
I don't follow them.
And I don't either.
Yeah, we don't know what they normally tweet.
Correct.
I will read a tweet, and at any point during the tweet, if you think you know who it is, go ahead and ring in, just smack the table, say your name, whatever, get my attention.
Okay.
I will point to you. You have 3 seconds
Okay.
to say Tyra, Paris, Bieber.
Once you ring in.
You get it right, you get
Right.
yourself 5 points. Ring in, you get it wrong, you're going to lose 3.
Well, there's a penalty for being incorrect, sir.
Oh, wow.
And we're
right.
not just playing for the glory of the game.
As much as we...
Do I win money? Oh.
There's a
Now, to
dancing
Jew-
Andrew Jackson available.
I don't think he dances in this room.
He used to dance.
is
We're not allowed to
incredible.
have the air on today, as much as I asked. It never really happened. So Andrew Jackson will be there.
And
Now,
I am sweating.
yeah. Could someone literally turn the fan on in that other studio so we get some air in
Starting
here?
to look a little.
You look
The
fantastic.
hair
No, you look
starts to
great.
fall flat.
You look great.
If I may,
Do you remember when we played Brothers?
This is
Remember,
not
it wasn't
a
that long
promotional vehicle,
Remember that?
Sam.
Tweaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun time, huh?
Let's continue.
Yeah. When you think you have the correct answer,
Yes.
I just love making
you
them
should
uncomfortable.
ring in by saying your name. Because if we both went, he might not know who said that.
Paul Mazursky.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's not playing.
Okay.
Tweet number 1.
Here we go.
Don't be afraid of death. Be afraid of an unlived life.
Kevin, Tyra.
That is incorrect, sir.
-3 out of the gate.
Now, do I get to guess who
No,
it is? Or I just,
you
I'm,
can.
already, I'm already in the lead.
You don't need
So
to.
if you continue to fuck up, I may win with no points.
That is absolutely
Amazing.
correct.
Silent
He's in the
victory.
negative.
amazing.
He's
Yeah.
in the negative.
What would your guess have been?
My guess would have been Paris.
That would have been correct.
Yeah.
That would have been correct.
So instead of being
But
5,
I understand why you went Tyra.
Yeah, right, a little preachy?
Yeah.
Sure.
No preaching.
I hear air coming on. Good sign for Jews.
Nice. Well, let's try tweet number 2.
Okay.
Come on, admit it. I know you all love to pop those pimples just like me. Don't be shamed.
David. Bieber.
I'm sorry, no.
Oh, wait, I know who it is.
It's all tied up.
Son of a bitch.
That was Tyra.
That was
Yeah,
Tyra.
that was Tyra.
Sure.
Son of a bitch.
It's all right. It's all right. Here we go.
It's
tweet
tied
number
up.
3. Tweet number 3.
Anyone's game.
Don't think you're alone in dealing with the haters. Push past that negativity to be the best you in 2012.
Definitely Justin Bieber.
Definitely not. I'm so sorry. That was Tyra.
Fucking
That
Tyra.
was
man.
Tyra. Yeah. It's all
All
right.
right,
Sounds
now
like
I'm
a-
going to have the
sounds
silent
like-
victory.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
really?
It's
Wow.
all right. It's still a pretty close game. It's only a 3-point difference. Sure,
Uh-huh.
both in the
No
negative,
one's
but
gotten
that's okay.
anything right.
No, we're
That's
3
okay.
for 3 on the negative answers. Yeah.
Okay, I think that only happened once.
We're totally kicking ass.
Okay,
That's
here we
okay.
go.
Here we go. Tweet number 4. Just got home from a late night studio session with the Hitmakers.
Kevin Bieber.
Okay, we're tied up at -6.
Wow. Who was that? Paris?
Paris.
Son of a bitch.
Who else would it be?
You jumped the gun on
Yeah,
that.
because you know she has a singing career.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
That's why it was a good one, Jamie. You tricked us with the singing.
Tweet number 5.
All right, 4 for 4 on the negative.
Heading to Vegas in the morning for CES. Gonna see what is coming next. Hashtag gadget nerd.
Wow.
Kevin Paris.
Okay, we are
5
still in
for
the
5.
negatives.
That was Bieber?
That was Bieber.
Wow.
5 for 5 on the negative.
Yeah, this is exciting, guys.
Wow, I have a
Okay.
shot.
Okay, tweet number 6.
How many of them are there?
8.
There's 8.
Wow. We're not going to come out of the negative.
It's only happened once out of 135.
Tweet number 6. All of you inspire me. Hashtag real.
Fucking Bieber.
That is correct!
Nice.
Oh, boy, that was... Now you're only -1.
Hey, I'm going to win.
Oh, boy, this is exciting. Tweet number 7. Love making other people happy. Feels so good.
Kevin Tyra.
I'm afraid not, sir.
That was Bieber.
That was Paris. Paris.
But you don't lose any
I
points,
don't
for,
lose any
for
points
being
my-
wrong that
Hey,
time.
look, that's a free guess.
That's it.
Negative 12 to negative 1.
But as you know,
Fortunately, the last question is worth 15 points.
Ooh.
it's typically worth 15
All right.
points.
Shit.
So this is it.
So you could win by 2.
So really, I want to make it clear
that's
to
a
you.
little math for you.
Make it clear to you. The only way you can lose is if he rings in and gets it correct.
Right, I understand.
Okay.
You didn't have to make it
I
clear.
want to make that clear to you. The only way that you can lose
Moron.
is if he rings in and gets it correct.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. Everybody's picking it up. Tweet number 8. My mama is trying to get more followers. Show her love.
I'm going to say that's got. You would think Mama. It's Tyra Banks. Who uses that term? I would say Bieber.
With a dramatic correct answer. That is correct, sir.
Way to work out the math numbers.
I did.
I
I
said done.
figured it.
Figured that out?
We have
Mama,
ourselves a winner.
He talks like a black guy.
Sure.
It works.
I was
Thank you
just trying
very
to let
much.
you know that you could only lose 3. He needed the
Woo!
15.
I had
We have ourselves
I had
a winner.
no cash on me.
Nicely done.
There, it
Thank you,
works out
Sammy.
nicely.
Nice job, David.
Thank you.
I was 4 for 4 with my incorrect answers. You were 2 for 4.
Celebrities have so much to say.
You're batting 500.
I'm a
Is the
badass.
game that we just played.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, and congratulations on your victory. If you don't mind, we have another thing on the game where we involve the audience. As you saw, Dave Keckner attempted to introduce it twice. I can't wait to find out who was on the TriCaster for that. But let's offer it up one more time as Dave Keckner takes us to...
I really hope they roll Houdini.
T5.
Yeah, that would have been great.
That would have been.
T5 forever now.
T5 Forever Now, he sings, it's a tweet 5. These will
Yes.
be 5 rapid-fire Coke or Pepsi kind of questions.
Okay.
No incorrect answer.
Okay.
Which do you prefer? But they're personally designed for you by your fans.
Wow. All
Or
right.
so they think. This one comes from Freddie Noriega. Adam's family values or Life with Mikey?
Life with Mikey.
Ray or Walk Hard?
Ray.
Tony or Ridley? Scott?
Ridley.
Harold and Kumar or Tenacious D?
Harold and Kumar.
Ed Asner or Judd Hirsch?
Judd Hirsch.
All correct answers.
So those are cruel.
Well,
Ed Asner
they,
is hurt.
they
right
try
now.
to create kind of a Sophie's choice for you.
Good Lord, I pissed off Apatow in that T5. Probably Asner for sure.
That's okay.
These things.
None of them
This is
listen or watch.
this is ruining my career.
Well,
That's
that's
fine.
that's the 7th reason we wanted you on the show.
This is the end.
Let's Skype in Ed
Good way to
Asner now.
finish. It's a strong finish.
Strong finish, yeah.
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 Let's Skype in a nude Ed Asner on a nude Barry Levinson's back, riding him around.
How much did you enjoy the working on the Mexican, by the way?
That was awesome.
Right? That must have been fun.
It was. We were down in a place called Real de Catorce,
I'll say.
which is actually it's in a region of South Mexico, southern Mexico called San Luis Potosi, and it's basically the poorest region. And lots of dead animals on the side of the road and people living in shanties, pleasant experience. But we were up something like 9,000 feet up in this mountain range, in these mountains, in a small Christian village. And it was enchanting because it was this little thing up there with these really devout people and lots of tequila and, surprisingly good food, and they had discovered the place because a bunch of European hippies had settled it. Swedish hippies had settled it back in the 60s. And so it was on the map for that reason, or else it would have been just the middle of nowhere. And, they had like a little fiesta every Sunday, and then they honored us at one point, and we had they slayed a goat, and we ate the goat. Have you ever eaten goat meat?
No, sir.
Great. Honestly.
What would you say it tastes like? Don't say chicken.
I don't want to say chicken, but it's a porky chicken.
A porky chicken.
It is a porky chicken. And then they also had a greased pig catching contest.
Catching.
Which was cruel. That was a cruel.
Were the pigs alive?
The pig was alive, and they shaved him raw and greased him.
How is this?
It was cruel. Look.
When in Rome.
Exactly. I did not chase the pig.
Oh, the Swedish hippies.
And I worked with Brad Pitt, who's awesome, and he gave me weed, and which at the time I was partaking in, and it was terrible weed, but you're 9,000 feet up in the mountains, the altitude.
Just
you're gonna
walking.
get blitzed.
Just walking from the bed to the bathroom at 9,000 feet, you get a high.
Right. Wild dogs in the street, a rooster waking you up every morning, lots of weed, and yeah, weed. It was a great experience.
It seemed like it must have been fun.
It's a cool movie.
I enjoyed the film very much.
Thank you.
Director's name is
Gore Verbinski, who directed my favorite film of the year.
Pirates of the Caribbean 3?
No, he did not. He directed Pirates of the Caribbean 4 came out this year, and he did not direct that. He directed Rango. Have you seen Rango?
Love Rango.
Love Rango.
Love Rango.
Thank you.
Love Rango.
Gore Verbinski, and he just won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Animated Film, so I hope he wins the Academy Award for it, because I love that movie. Have you seen it?
No, I was just telling Sam that was another movie that Kevin went to see without me because he hates me.
Oh.
Can I just...
Did you go alone?
Are these the films you see when you're on the road and you have time to kill all day until your show that night?
And you think there was a chance at all at one point Jamie might have said,
Yeah.
I don't really care about that movie, which would lead me to believe
Right.
I should probably go see it on my own. Not a chance.
I wanted to see it.
Yeah. We're enjoying that now with Hugo. Your show, The Numbers, ended up actually creating math worksheets that 25,000 teachers used. That must have been an okay feeling for about 9 minutes that you allowed yourself?
No, you know what? I took a lot of pride in that. I took a lot of pride, and I still do, in the humanitarian sort of effort that the show was, the effort to teach.
Right.
On primetime television, not on PBS at 2 p.m., but on CBS at 10 p.m., we tried to teach some children, which is kind of awesome if you think about it. We tried to inspire people with mathematics. We weren't exploitative. We didn't fake the math too often. That's not to say we didn't ever, but too often. And the goal was never to fake the math. We only did it when we felt it was, necessary. And yeah, Texas Instruments approached us after our first season and said, this show's great. Let's do a thing where we put your faces on calculators and we make posters, and teachers around the country can order sort of a numbers packet, which comes with the posters and the calculators and rulers and these worksheets for whatever grade. And there was a whole group of people, at a place called Wolfram, that would put together these worksheets. I think headed up by a guy named Ed Pegg, great guy. And so you'd watch. The idea was you'd watch an episode of Numbers in class, which how awesome is that? Or you'd watch some scenes.
Not the violent ones.
Not the violent ones. And then you'd be asked questions about the math that was used in the scene. Numbers actually won the Family Friendly Award for Best Drama, which we always thought was strange because it was mandatory, and this is a CBS mandate, that someone be killed on every episode.
Please tell us more about that.
CBS mandates that in all their procedurals, that someone is killed on every single episode. There has to be a murder of some sort on every
Now,
episode.
do they
That's
say
what I was told.
There has to be a case, or we need to see somebody
We
die?
need to see someone die. We need to see someone being killed, or
Right.
hear about it, or know about it. It has to be a prevalent. It has to start with the person alive, and then dying. Yes,
Again, about helping the kids.
about helping children.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, when you receive an honorary Associates of Arts degree in mathematics from Lake Tahoe Community College
Yes.
in 2007,
Yeah.
how do you ever stop bragging about that?
It's difficult. You know, I made that happen. I said, "What the? I never graduated college."
You made
I made
that-
it happen. It was not offered to me.
So you went after Lake Tahoe, or you just
Well, because
blanketed the country?
Well, because one year
Who
I
wants
was
to give me
watching-
an honorary?
I was watching all these graduation speeches,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, "Gosh darn it! I've done some pretty amazing crap here. Where's my honorary mathematics degree?
For fuck's sake.
For fuck's sake, yeah." And so I began to pursue it, and the only place that would offer it to me
Was Lake Tahoe Community
And then there
College.
was a glitch, which was they realized they couldn't really give me a mathematics degree, so they gave me whatever the other thing.
An honorary Associates of Arts.
Yeah,
That have nothing to do with math whatsoever.
correct. But I have a diploma. I have a degree.
How long did you last in the university? You went to NYU.
I went to NYU.
I graduated in 9 months.
Wow.
It's called dropping out,
Right.
or so my friend said. But to me, it was graduating. So
I did about the same. I did 2 separate semesters, so 3 months each, so 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it, but the career got hot.
I see.
You know what I mean? And there was no reason to continue.
Huh? Which job in particular took you out of the university? Do you remember?
I believe it was the closer.
Let's say.
The show, and
Tom
this comes
Selleck?
full circle. See, the show we met on. Yeah, it was the closer.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you start to feel, after things like Lion's Den, Monty, Pigsty, The Closer, The Trouble with Normal,
Pigsty.
when you when these shows fall to the wayside one after another?
Chicago
First
Suns.
of all, I was not. I did 1 episode of Pigsty.
I'll say.
Oh, the UPN's masterpiece.
It was in the UPN's first season, actually.
Was that the one with the Jason Bateman?
No, that was Chicago Suns.
That was
I played
Chicago Suns.
Jason Bateman's brother.
Brother.
We joked that the show should be titled "Who's the Jew?"
Right.
Because there's no way I could ever be Jason.
It was you, Bateman, and
and an even wider actor named D.W. Moffat.
sure.
Yeah,
W. Wonderful.
great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys played brothers.
Yeah.
Chicago Suns.
Yeah.
How does
Totally
that not
natural.
work?
Right. Actually, it was a very funny show, and it was on the bubble. It was on the bubble. Yeah.
People don't understand, I don't think, how hard it is to get a job in television on a pilot. Then they don't understand that 80% at least of pilots made fail by design. That's the structure of the pilot system. Then they don't understand, I think, how hard it is to get a time slot worth a damn where you have a chance. The network will let you stay afloat for a year to find an audience. So to finally get on a long-running hit, I suggest, sir, that it's better to have gone through the short runs and the real odds-on average of what happens to most television shows because of the numbers that are pushed out. To experience that first so that you can appreciate the success of A numbers, hearkening back to the first Broadway play at 13 where this is kind of fucking easy and not really any ability whatsoever, even according to yourself, to
Right.
enjoy the fruits of the labor.
Well, failure is the greatest success, right? And I mean that in all seriousness. And yes, it made it so that I was incredibly appreciative and grateful
Right.
for the moment that Numbers became a hit. And about 3 years later, I wanted to leave the show. But I stayed on it
Right.
till the end. Only because that's sort of what happens, I think, with all series, is people start to go, oh, how long am I going to do this? It's driving me crazy. And
How many hours on
become
average
monotonous.
per day did you, 1 hour drama?
Well, we were a quick show. I mean, we would do 12, 13-hour days at the most. We never went to those 16, 17-hour days. And
That's a miracle.
and I didn't work. I had sort of the turning point moments. So Rob Morrow worked a lot more than I did. But I worked, I worked plenty. It was good work. I like to work. I like to make the day go by. I like to make life go by.
Sure, I understand.
This is
I sense
miserable.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it very, 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 very much. And the second it ended, the immediate realization was, it's never going to happen again.
I'm unemployed.
And how lucky would I have to be for this to happen twice?
Right.
And that's why I feel as low as I do today.
I'm going to remind you of a guest we had on the show by the name of Brian Cranston.
Oh, that's true.
You would think the father from Malcolm in the Middle
Yeah.
would not have a chance at winning the Emmy 3 years in a row for Best Dramatic Actor.
True.
If you were to suggest the odds of that, Sammy, I think we're going to go deeper than 5 million.
I'm going to say
It's an anomaly.
8.8 million to 1.
Yeah. However, he stayed thin, which I have not.
By the way, an option that you have.
Which I'm working on.
All
I'm
right.
starting a juice cleanse on Wednesday. I've never done that before. Because I have to lose weight. Because it's pilot season. And
You might get your license this year.
That's right. And he's white. And so there are a lot of roles for white men, which
see.
I don't qualify for.
I see.
Let's face it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Nope.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know why I love numbers?
Why?
It was the only reason I got a lot of work during those times.
Why?
Because you were too busy.
You were off the market, he
He's
said.
talking about a specific circumstance.
I'm talking about several things, but
Yeah.
yes, there is one in particular.
Which we won't go into because I'm still very bitter about
Oh,
it.
you shouldn't be bitter.
It was one of the reasons. Oh, yeah, you want to ask?
I shouldn't because you basically got cut out of the fucking thing.
Yeah,
I would have killed that part and you fucking
would've.
ruined it.
I ruined
and
it
he
for
cut you
you.
out.
I know.
I think he cut all of them out, and I think it was one of the problems people had with the film.
That's a great movie.
I love
Yes.
the movie.
Yes.
But with that name,
True.
we're sort
You
of
would expect a little
it's
more.
suggested that we might see more of
I'm
them.
not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree.
I was with Sammy at the premiere in Cannes, and I can tell you it was a wondrous occasion for all of us.
I'm glad for you.
When,
You went to the fucking premiere with that little thing. You had one line in the fucking movie, and they sent you to Cannes.
And if they didn't send me,
Of course they didn't. You fucking flew yourself.
how dare you? How
This was a
dare
big
you?
moment. How could you pass it up?
I'm
flying to
siding
Cannes.
with Long Island J right now.
Yes.
I'm glad that happened. So what you're saying is 3 years on the show led you to a spot where you thought, there are other opportunities that I'm not available for, and this is annoying as fuck. How do I get off this thing so I can work on some of these other things?
Well, I had some tragic opportunities end up in my career graveyard. And so, yes, my brain was a little scrambled from the experience because the show had become monotonous. It was Friday night at 10 o'clock. It was, we were doing very well in our time slot, but that's a sort of a dead time slot. I wasn't getting chased down the street like I thought I might be, and which is ridiculous of me,
You wouldn't enjoy it if it happened.
Exactly. I only realize that now.
Right.
Yes. And so it was. There were disappointing aspects to the show. There were also some things that were happening on the show that I didn't enjoy, which I won't get into. There were some disappointing aspects of doing the show. Overall, looking back, and I was able to look back while I was doing it toward the end. It was the greatest opportunity ever, and I loved it deeply, and I loved working there, and I miss it every single day, even to this day. But yeah, at that time I thought, I'm hot for the first time in my career. Let's strike while the iron's hot, and go out and get all these movies that clearly are out there for me that I've had to pass up on. And I was convinced I would have to. And then here's what happened: the writer's strike happened. And we shut down for a few months. And I had already told the producers, look, I'm leaving. I'm going to do one more season, then I'm leaving. I told my agents and managers. I'd spoken to Dennis Haysbert about it, oddly. Dennis, who was doing the unit at the time, was saying, yeah, I got to leave my show too. So we had commiserated about that. So I thought, oh, it's okay. This is what people do. They leave shows, and it's okay. And what a dick I was. But, I only know that now. But then what happened was writer's strike, and Ricky Gervais was given the opportunity to do an extra special series finale of Extras,
Right.
which wonderful show. And I'd watched all the episodes. And then they gave him money, HBO gave him money to do a 2-hour episode, which aired 6 months after the original series finale.
Right.
So they rethought it and said, hey, let's put a nice cap on this. And he did this somewhat half dramatic,
Right.
episode of Extras. Did you see it? Mm-hmm. It's the Christmas episode. And it was about him leaving his show and, realizing there's not much out there for him and you can't choose your audience and those kinds of things. And it was a frying pan to my face.
Right.
And I thought, what am I, an asshole? Boy, I'm an asshole. And from that day on, I enjoyed every single second of working on that show. For as difficult at times as it was, and the scripts, started to suffer, as any show, that happens to any show. It
Sure.
starts to kind of get shitty. And it got shittier and shittier, and I would be frustrated, and I would express my frustrations, and then at times I wouldn't. I would let it be. And I enjoyed myself tremendously for the last 2 years of that show. And so that when it ended, I felt like I'd only done 2 years that I enjoyed, and I'd wished
Right.
that it had gone on a little longer.
You were
So-
given the It's a Wonderful Life moment
Yeah.
almost halfway through the run.
Yeah,
A little more than half.
yeah.
Was it 5 years?
It was 6. Well, it's 5.5 years,
Right.
6 seasons,
6
technically.
seasons, right.
Yeah.
The good news is
But people love the show.
you're
That
a
makes me happy.
wildly young man in the grand scheme of an actor's career. Did
Thank
you
you.
say 33?
I'm 33,
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
So I'm going to make a crazy bold prediction.
You don't have, if this is a pep talk,
Oh, no.
I'm okay.
Oh,
Okay.
no, it's not a pep talk.
Oh, all right.
You will, in fact, never work again. Let me...
The thing is, I know you're joking, but I'll go home tonight and think there's truth in every joke.
No, no.
There's a bit of
Actually, I
truth
was
in
prepared for
every
the
joke.
pep talk, and you stopped it.
I stopped
You shot a hole through it, and you gave the comedian no choice but to go.
a lot worse.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate it. and thank you.
No. The pep talk. Actually, what I like to do on the show.
I'm a beloved. My face
Please.
has practically been, as yours has.
If I may.
Not Sam's.
No.
But our faces have practically been sewn into the great American pop culture quilt.
There's no question.
They can never remove us from the quilt.
As hard as some would try from Long Island.
Right. That's right.
Sam,
There's a question
Is there?
for online that I would our viewers are dying to know. Is Rob Morrow a good kisser?
And I know why they've asked this question.
Yeah.
Because we were at on a step and repeat press line, and he kissed me on the side of my head, right around here, which is very right around the temple. Very bad place to kiss anyone, I think.
because
Well, this is more customary, or possibly the forehead, but this is very unorthodox, and
it's an odd choice.
And so they snapped a picture of that moment, and I am in the picture completely horrified. My
Because-
face is literally like,
But you're saying it's more about the selection of location of the kiss that caused the face to occur.
that, and I didn't, he and I, yes, it was the selection of the location.
You had it with the Morrow at that
It was
point.
enough.
Funny story.
He's a lot.
No one asked that. That was apropos of nothing. I was just messing with you, but I'm thrilled you had a story.
Well, now you've caused a rift between me and my co-star. So thank you.
I don't think so.
Yeah, if I see him, he's going to bring this up.
Oh, listen, there's a great many people you may want to avoid after this.
Have him on the show.
Yeah, right?
Asian women, that's gone for you now.
I think that was more my fault.
That's okay. I
The Asian
forgive
one.
How fun of the Herald and the Kumars,
you. Awesome. So much fun.
right?
Yeah, the best.
Improvising?
Improvising, I got to work with Rob Corddry on the second one, who is an amazing improvisationalist.
One of my favorite guests are in the
The
show.
third one
Yeah.
hilarious. The third one we did at 5 in the morning in Detroit on a freezing day.
You can't beat that.
Can't beat it. You fuck around. John and Cal are great. John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg, who created the franchise. They directed the second movie. They wrote all three. Two of my dearest friends. Eddie K. Thomas. I can take or leave him. But
Why do you do this to your oldest friends?
it's just after a while you get a little. It's just too much. No, Eddie's a great guy, and so yeah, just fuck around the whole time and And the great thing about those movies, you go as dirty as you want.
Yeah.
And I can poke fun at my Jewishness, at my overt Jewishness, which I can't control, which is off-putting. And I got to smoke weed out of a shofar.
How was that?
And you can't beat that.
No.
Great experience. My dad was thrilled.
Did he say tequila while he was watching?
Yeah, exactly. He said, tequila.
All right. I would like you to start to think in terms at the 100-minute mark about your Larry King
Lord.
game. I don't mean to say it's...
I already thought it out.
Did you?
Yeah, we're done.
Let's roll the new intro music.
It's time to play the Larry King game on Kevin Pollock's Chat Show.
Look at that.
If only we could have heard it.
Amazing.
I wish that Dave
CGI,
Keckner would have come up. All right, now,
Okay.
shall I reiterate anything?
No.
Don't
I think
bother.
I know what I need to do.
That's your camera. When you're ready, simply have at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Larry King. My piles are bleeding because I ran out of Charmin toilet paper and White Cloud is no longer in production. Mount Hope, New Jersey.
Mouth open,
And that's how you play the Larry King
together.
game.
That's how you do it.
That was good.
Easy peasy.
Thank you.
Ah,
Easy stuff.
fantastic. All right, so I want to, first of all, thank you again for coming by.
Is this the end?
Well, no.
I was
No.
This is such a self-involved, I love it.
It's another hour. I just wanted to
Oh.
take a little.
Awesome. Well, it's my pleasure.
You had no idea it would be this much fun. We have to get to it because otherwise we mentioned the lead instead of burying it. We mentioned the lead and then buried it, which is the Alan Arkin. We both have this ridiculous infatuation with this historically brilliant actor.
Yes.
I'd love to get your sense from the slums of the Beverly Hills shooting experience. You were how old?
I was 19.
Right.
Alan Arkin is enigmatic and at the same time somehow completely everything's out there for you.
Yes.
You know, you really, it's easy to pick up on, and yet there's so many layers. You never quite get there. I found him to be, he was tortured. He's a tortured artist.
You related to that?
I did. And, but he was also an inspiration. He could be an inspiration. I was enamored with him the entire time, and I think I annoyed the shit out of him. And he called me Krumholtz. What else? There are personal stories he told me that I won't repeat. He asked me to get him mushrooms.
Sure.
Because he was 65, and I think only 3 months prior he had tried psychedelic mushrooms for the first time. And I said, yeah, I've done mushrooms a couple times. And he said, could you get me some? And I never got him any because I thought, what if he dies? You know what I mean?
You did not want to kill Alan Arkin?
I didn't want to kill him.
How could he not be flattered by that?
Yeah, he didn't know that.
How if you had to recreate the moment, how did he actually ask for the mushrooms?
He said, a few months ago, my son gave me some mushrooms, and I sat out on a lake in Nova Scotia, looking out over a lake, and you know, I just loved it. He made like a kind of a face. So you know, if you could you get me some because you know.
Because you're a young person?
I guess so. I was a young rapscallion, and he thought, go get me some.
Yeah.
But my favorite Alan Arkin story,
Please.
if you'll permit me to do it again, was another looking out over the lake in Nova Scotia story. Because we had this 2-week rehearsal period where we all sat around and got to know each other, Marissa Tomei and Kevin Corrigan, who's a great actor, and Natasha Lyonne and Alan and I. And we were all terribly unstable people. Honestly, she could not have put together, and that's why that movie works so well, because it really is a group of very unstable people. And I remember Alan talking about, I was about 35 years old. And he had already become famous, I think, at that time. I was about 35 years old, and I was standing on a bridge in Nova Scotia looking out over a lake. And I decided I'd either spend the rest of my life working on myself or throw myself in the lake. Because, you know, he's been suicidal his whole life. He writes books about lemmings, who supposedly ritually, he's fascinated with suicide. What a wonderful, he's a pleasant man, though.
Yeah.
I love him. And anyway, he's just one big ball of existential crisis. And I was fascinated, and I started doing the impression of him on set. Because you can only do that once a week. From now on, you can't do it every day. You can only do it once a week. But he told me that you, in fact, did a much better impression.
He told you that?
Yes, and that you had basically stolen his soul, and that you called him once and left a message as him, and it totally freaked him out. And then when I met you and we did the dueling Arlen, I couldn't believe how good it was.
Well,
so,
you mentioned that he said his comment was you can only do that once a week. My favorite comment kind of in that wheelhouse would be after he saw me do it live on stage at Caroline's in New York. He said, no, it's very good. Have you noticed I don't stammer as much since you started doing me? I heard it because I didn't like it. So the sound of my stammering in your impersonation is the reason that I don't stammer anymore.
so now if you close your eyes,
But I mean, as
you close my eyes, it sounds like, if you close your eyes when I do it, it sounds like an impression. Close your eyes when he does it, it's Alan Arkin.
well, but
incredible.
I just love that was his way of complimenting you. You know what I mean? Complimenting me.
Yeah.
Complimenting one was to actually
Help you.
but also get inside his own insecurities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Your impression was so good, I don't want to stammer anymore. I mean, that was his
that's
way
amazing.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found him to be magical as well in terms of being inspiring, while at the same time riddled with the self-doubt.
Yeah,
that,
big time.
Yeah.
I remember he told me, he said, I want to win an Academy Award. And I thought, wow, here's this guy who had been nominated. He's 65. People love him. He's well respected. And here he is talking about how he's bold-faced coming out and saying, I want an Academy Award.
Did he tell you his speech?
He didn't tell me his speech, but I remember thinking, my God, many would be embarrassed to do that.
Right.
That's kind of a taboo thing to do.
To admit.
Yeah, I should have been nominated for an Emmy for that. It's kind of like you don't do that kind of stuff.
To openly admit.
Right, and
I
he
won an
was like,
Academy
and so
Award.
when he won, I was so happy for him because I knew how much it meant to him.
See, I felt the same thing. The happiness that he won, of course, rooting for him with all that I had. Then, because he had told me his acceptance speech a good 10 or more years before he won, I immediately felt wholly disappointed because he did not use it.
Oh, see,
Because he gave me one of the greatest acceptance speeches, which I have since dined on 16,000 times, telling other people, Alan Arkin has the greatest Academy Award acceptance speech ever.
Which was?
Since he didn't use it, I'm going
Let's
to,
go.
for any award that I use,
Nice.
that I win. I won the Penn Award. And so he would say, so this was his speech. He wins Academy Award, he walks on stage, thank you. I want to say two things. The first thing I want to say is that awards of any kind in the arts are the most heinous thing you can do to artistic people. To pit us against each other, to make us root for failure of our fellow artists is truly one of the great crimes that has been committed upon our community. Second thing I'd like to say, this is the greatest moment of my entire life. How's that not the greatest?
I don't know why he blew it. He blew it.
Such disappointment.
He was too happy.
Yeah,
to
when
win.
he won, it was like, I assume that your heart kind of does all the talking, and your shtick goes out the window.
You want me to go further with
Please.
crazy Alan Arkin stories? Okay, so in that movie,
Go deep.
I'm going real deep. Carl Reiner's in that movie, and so is Rita Moreno. Carl had worked with Alan a couple times, but most notably, The Russians Are Coming, and then, of course, Rita Moreno had done Poppy with Alan.
Right.
And they hadn't seen Alan since then. And we have this scene. It's one day of shooting out at Long Beach Airport, where we're meant to have lunch. We all have lunch. Carl plays Alan's brother, Rita plays Carl's wife, and Alan is asking Carl for money. It's a great scene in the movie. It's a great movie.
It is.
Anyway, so we're there, and I'm privileged to be sitting at this table. In fact, Carl Reiner had just cut the 2,000-Year-Old Man in the year 2000 with Mel Brooks, and he played the demo tape for me and Arkin in his trailer. It was a magical day for me. And Rita Moreno was amazing, too. She told me a great Marlon Brando story. She said, just briefly, she said, I was so nervous. Marlon Brando made me so nervous when I was married to him that one morning I was sleeping, and I woke up like this, and she had her own hand. Anyway, she was great. She's a character.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's me, Marissa Tomei, Natasha, this little boy, Eli, and then the three of them. So they sit down, and there's some awkwardness. And Carl Reiner comes right out and says, you know, the last time I saw you, you told me to go fuck myself. Because I guess Alan had had some real anger issues back when he was on that bridge in Nova Scotia. And, you know, we're sitting at the table and it's like, you know, it's a terrible moment, really. And
Slightly
we love
awkward.
Alan, you know, and you know, and Alan says, yeah, no, I was, back then I had some serious, you know. And Rita Moreno says, yeah, you had some, you know, are you? And he goes, yeah, well, I'm better now. I've worked a lot of that stuff out. And here's this 65-year-old man having to apologize for himself in the past. It was such an awkward moment. But then they got along really nicely.
Right.
And It was forget that moment. It was great. And,
It was probably a cleansing for him.
yeah, I think
To
so.
be called out on the carpet, awkward, yes. But
Yeah.
afterwards, to be able to have apologized.
And how was Carl Reiner going to go on with the day acting like that never happened? Last
Right.
time he saw the guy, he told him to go fuck himself, you know? So
I'm sure, I sensed that Carl might have had a smile on his face when he said, you know, the
yeah,
last time
no,
I
they
saw
were,
you.
they were kind about it.
Right. As opposed to, hey, you fuck.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. They weren't there to start a fight. But,
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing.
It's that sitting around the campfire thing that working on a movie can be.
Hmm?
That is often some of the best parts.
Yeah. I've had some really, you know, if it all ended today, which it most likely would.
Wait for it.
I've had some really awesome. I've had a lot of those moments.
Yeah.
With some really awesome people. The problem is when you embellish, people think you're lying.
Right.
And so my issue will be going forward in life as I become less and less relevant and more insignificant, is telling these stories and people going, bullshit, man, you never saw that happen. I never. And then I'll have to be like, what are you sure, I was there.
Yeah.
No, you're just some old bastard reliving his glory days.
Well, you got
that
to
never-
pick and choose who you tell the stories to.
Yeah, I got to.
Who's susceptible?
A lackey like Levine.
I couldn't think of a better place to end.
Nor
Kenny?
could I. I was going to say, a final parting shot from a wonderful guest we've invited into our studio.
Into what some could argue is your home as well,
One could argue that. You come into my house
He loves it.
where my
He
children
loves it.
sleep.
where my children sleep.
He
My
loves
wife
that
sleeps.
we even
And my
have
children
any
come.
sort of
Don't
rapport,
play with
even
me.
if it's abusive. He enjoys it.
Oh, man. Honest and truly, thank you for all of it.
Yeah, this was
And
much more fun than I thought it would be. So,
Right?
Yeah, I thought it would be a lot more serious, dramatic.
No.
You never brought up. We'll leave it at that.
Wait.
You know You said you were going to bring it up and you didn't, so I'm glad. Maybe we should. No, it's too late. We're running over time.
Oh, no.
I had cancer, and you didn't bring it up.
Well, listen. There are important things in a person's life.
Yes. And then there's cancer.
Then there's cancer.
Right, you're right.
I mean, the fact that you were a cancer survivor, for all
That's
intents
right.
and purposes.
That's right.
First of all, you were in a couple of movies.
Right, that's important.
That's exciting.
That's more important.
Yeah. No,
Thank you.
Thank
You were very kind. I should say, you were very kind during that whole period when I was tweeting about it, trying to raise money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. You were very, very kind in sending me messages of encouragement, and I appreciate it.
and RTing your efforts and letting people know to help get the word out.
That was very cool of you.
I had a little
Joe Gordon-Levitt never even responded.
nothing.
No.
Zippo.
No. I had to tell him, I had cancer. I told him, I tweeted you about it.
You would think.
Guys on Twitter all day.
I would love to hear a little bit about the bedside manner of how this kind of news is shared by a physician, because
Yeah.
that always seems to me to be.
Well, look, in my case, and I should say this because it's important, I have
Yes.
thyroid cancer. Thyroid cancer is one of the most common and most treatable. It's kind of cancer light. You know, it's like it's the chicest form of cancer.
If you're going to get it,
If you're going to get cancer,
This is the one to
This
get.
is the one to get, absolutely. And so,
99 out of 100, you're walking home.
so it wasn't this moment of you have stage 3 whatever cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It was you have thyroid cancer. It all happened extremely quickly, and I got very lucky. I'll tell you what happened real
Please.
briefly.
No,
2 months prior,
briefly. Take your time.
2 months prior, I went to a masseuse. She gave me a nice massage. At the end of it, she starts massaging my neck, which I've never had anyone massage the front of my neck. I thought, this is very awkward. We walked out, and she says, I felt a lump on your neck. I said, what? So she showed me where, and I kind of fell for it. I couldn't even feel it. But I walked out of there thinking, God damn, this is what kind of massage is this? I'm walking out thinking I have cancer.
The last thing to say to a Jew, I
Yeah.
found a lump.
Right. So I said, all right, I'll go to the doctor. Went to the doctor. I said, you know, masseuse said she felt something. He felt for it. He felt it. I couldn't even feel it. So I would not have known.
You had denial in your fingertips.
Right. And I would not have known for quite some time because it wouldn't have grown. And then by then I would have been in a little bit of trouble.
I'm guessing.
Because, you know, any cancer, when it's let to go, you know, even if it's thyroid cancer. So, so she saved my ass. And I sent her a bunch of shit. I called her, made her cry and everything, thanked her. Anyway, so ultrasound biopsy, the next day after the biopsy, you have cancer.
You're in quarantine.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're not at quarantine phase yet. What happened was find out in the morning I have cancer, call my mother, my father. They think I'm joking because I always fuck with them. I have cancer. I thought the whole thing was hilarious. I got to be honest, and only because it was a light cancer. If it was something harsh, obviously,
It was explained to you right away. This is
nothing to worry about.
best kind of cancer to
You
get.
got it good, kid. You know. In fact, you'll get some sympathy off of this for no reason really. So, so then I went to. I went later that day to meet the surgeon. The day I find out, I go to meet the surgeon. Surgeon's like this crazy. Everybody's like, oh, you know, when you walk into one of these hospitals and they go, "Who's you doing your surgery?" Say, Doctor. In this case, his name is Michael Ye. Oh, he's got Ye. It's the best. You know what I mean? I got a lot of that, and I thought, oh, fucking, who's this guy? So he came in and he was a badass, and he said, oh, I'm scheduling you for a month from now, and it's going to be fine. You know, I do this all the time, and. So that night I went home, I looked him up, and he's like all these rave reviews, and he's been on
Yelp.
all these, yeah, basically. Yelp, just see 5 out of 5 stars. And the next day his office calls and says, look, someone canceled their surgery for tomorrow. Someone canceled their surgery. You should never cancel a surgery because it's probably necessary that you have it. Someone canceled their surgery for tomorrow. Do you want to come in and have surgery tomorrow? So 2 days after I found out that I had cancer, I had my cancer removed. And then I had to do a little of the quarantine recently to just, you know, and the prognosis is very, very good. So, and the most revealing, most pathetic, but also probably funniest moment of the whole thing was I went to dinner with one of the writers of Harold and Kumar, John Hurwitz. And I said, so can you believe it? I have cancer. And he said, I got to be honest with you, Dave, of all the people I know, I'm not surprised you have cancer.
Now there's a real friend.
Yeah. Anyway.
Of all the people I know, you were most likely to.
Yeah.
We did a yearbook. You were most likely to get
yeah,
the C
yeah.
word.
Most likely to get cancer. That's
Wow.
right.
Congratulations on your
Thank you.
cancer light,
Oh, thank you.
your victory over it.
Thank you.
And well, the reason I asked before the show if it was cool to talk about is because no matter where you are, everyone's kind of been affected by it somehow. So the fear of it, you know, is on varying levels depending on the person. I came from a family of, and this has been done as a joke in movies and TV, you don't pronounce the word.
Right.
First of all, you whisper it. Otherwise, you're going to get it. Yeah. And then I see a report not too long ago saying there are 1,200 forms of what is falling under the heading of this word. And we have to stop using this word because it's no longer relevant. There are 1,200 ways that cells can turn into illness. And about 1,100 of them, you're fine.
Right, right.
Literally. So any positive information about the word that we have to whisper, I think is fantastic to get out there. And thank you very much for, you know, being open and about your own.
Yeah. You know, and again, that's another thing I love about Twitter is, believe it or not, you know, lots of actors or celebrities, if that's what I am on whatever level I am, would like to portray that they could care less what the fans think or say of them, or they say they do and then they don't. I actually, Aaron Sorkin said he appreciates a compliment from a complete stranger way more than he does anyone he knows personally. I feel the same way, you know, and Twitter's a great way to interact with all these people who have had much worse situations than I have.
Of course.
And telling me that I'm an inspiration because I made the effort to come out and talk about it instead of hiding it, and inspired them and all this kind of stuff, and which is why I did it, and helped them, you know, obviously to raise money as well. And, you know, and we did. We raised a lot of money.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
What was the thing recently where you were going toe-to-toe against Seth?
Yeah, no, not against Seth. I was with Seth.
Oh, you were on
we
his team.
against Sophia Bush. Yeah,
Right.
we did something called Hilarity for Charity on Friday night, actually. It was a charity event for the Alzheimer's Association because Seth is personally affected by that in his family, and as am I,
yeah.
and as are most people. And the problem is that in LA, it's very nice of them, but the Alzheimer's Association does a Hollywood benefit every year called A Night at Sardi's.
Right.
And it's very old. It's an older event, stuffier.
You're saying the average age is 102.
Basically.
Yeah.
And so the perception is this is an old person's disease when it's really, thank you, when it's really genuinely not, because so many young people are affected by it, and young people get the disease. And when I say young, I don't mean 20. There are not many 25-year-olds with Alzheimer's, but there are 50-year-old people with Alzheimer's disease. And at that age, the disease progresses quite much more rapidly than if you get it when you're 70, believe it or not. And so, you know, it's important to get young people involved in any charity because young people don't do shit for charity.
Yes.
So we decided that let's put together a really young feeling comedy event. We had great people there, Patton Oswalt and Aziz Ansari, and Bruno Mars played, and I hosted with Paul Rudd and Ty Burrell, and it was just awesome. And it came together really, really nicely, and we made a shitload of money. And it's just year one, so hopefully we'll do that every year.
Where can people go to on the webs?
You can donate at crowdrise.com/hilarity for charity. Crowdrise.
Rise. Let's put that up if we can on the screen.
/hilarity for charity, and that's you can actually
The
donate.
the number 4. Hilarity for charity?
I think so, but
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
I'm not
it is.
sure. And then I think it actually is FOR charity.
Okay.
Yeah. But then and then right now Seth is offering a signed Superbad DVD for $29 for a
How the
$29
fuck about that?
donation.
Come on.
Which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And you can also go to the Alzheimer's website, and I think you can donate there, obviously.
Right.
Which is alzheimers.org.
Also with a number 4 in it.
Sure. Alzheimers.org.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
No, good. Good. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for letting me, yeah.
Please.
I'm a compassionate person now, so I'm all into doing charities.
As it turns out,
Yeah.
I would think this sort of experience changes you no matter how light you're being told it is.
Yeah.
The word perspective.
Yeah. You know, it didn't really hit me until after the surgery when I was in pain, what I'd gone through and what this was and what it meant, you know, as a worrier. You go to, am I an unhealthy person?
Sure.
Is this going to recur?
Right.
It's amazing how much confidence you don't know you have just knowing that you're healthy, physically.
Yes.
You can be an emotional wreck, and I am, most of the time. But there's a lot of confidence in knowing, at least, you know, my last physical, I was doing pretty great.
Right.
The second you find out there's something physically wrong with you, that's scary.
The house of cards that is the human body.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah.
That'll knock you out a little bit. But you know, look, you know, Letterman had the heart attack and he came back and he wasn't a prick anymore. So, you know, it changes people.
He wasn't a prick anymore for a while.
That's true. He's back to being a prick.
Then he's back to being himself.
Right.
Which is what I always celebrated.
Right.
In his humor, personally.
Right. You kind of don't care anymore. You just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ask you to do the Larry King game one more time.
We didn't
because
record
we
it.
always end. No, totally
Oh.
kidding. Totally kidding. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your victory on Who Tweeted.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, considering we started out, I think, 5 out of 5 with the first negative answers, and then you finally brought it home.
Thank you. And this was a joy to sit here with you.
Well, please, I assumed it was.
You shouldn't assume anymore. It always is.
All right.
If people don't seem to enjoy it. I did, and that's all that counts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much. Now, is there a website devoted to your goings-on? People want to
No.
follow you. So follow you
I
on
don't
Twitter,
want
which
that.
we've had in the lower third at
Dave Krumholtz.
Dave
Yeah.
Krumholtz.
And I apologize.
That's been up in the lower third before. There it is now. What are you apologizing for? What you may say?
I apologize for whatever I might tweet that might offend anyone.
Oh, but that's the beauty of the freedom.
Right. And if you don't like it,
freedom of
you
speech.
can stop following me.
Yeah, at its best.
exactly.
We didn't talk about the Barry Corman, the serial king.
We don't need to.
Okay.
I love that movie.
This is turning
you so
into the
much.
Lord of the Rings Return of the King of podcasts. It has ended 8 times.
Yeah, I apologize.
Oh, I'm in control,
on
sir.
One last note.
Please.
Rethink the Sam Levine.
And there it is. There's the ninth
There it
ending
is.
that everyone celebrates. All right, sit there and comfortably for another 90 seconds
Okay.
while I say goodbye to the fine
Nice.
folks from
Yeah.
across the world and out at sea.
All right.
Sammy,
Yeah, buddy.
it'll never be this bad. For you.
No,
Again.
because I'm not that miserable.
Wait. This is the wrap-up.
What?
I think he made it clear for everyone who may have had questions at this point. No. Well, it took 136 shows for one of our guests to finally come after you, and I think everyone's a little grateful.
Well, Jane Campion, she,
That bitch.
you know,
Yeah. Sammy, we'll see you in San Francisco next Saturday,
damn straight.
where we will pre-tape with Rachel Lee Harris, and it'll stream in our regular time slot worldwide.
Yeah.
3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then do your math from around the world where you may watch us live. Jason Biggs, a former co-star of today's guest, is coming up in future shows as well. Check the calendar. We're going to be posting some more guests we have booked. Jamie, thank you as always. Sorry about the floating arm and the shit you may have got for it. I know, right?
I can't tell if they give me shit because they like me or I don't know. I'm always getting beat up in this chat room.
I like the one-arm look, so I'm going to go with it.
You like it?
Thanks again to Dr. Chen as always. I obviously understand how much you appreciated the Asian flavor that was dashed in on today's show. I think everyone felt the joy that you were experiencing while it was happening. Also refuses to date Asian women, by the way.
Is that true?
No, totally made it up. Outside the hallowed walls, I want to say a big thanks to Jason McIntyre, Justin Weiss, Josh Negrin. Adam the intern was out today. Samantha Ward, lovely makeup. Elaine Ewing, who does our post-work, some of the post-work for Hulu, as well as our social media executive. Executive. I'm always forgetting some. Mike Robin, of course, our consulting executive producer. And Kenny, anything you want to add before we sign off? No, I have a question for you, Kenny. You know where I get some mushrooms, yes? Okay. Until next week, and as always, get out of my face.
T5!
Perfect.
T5 forever now.
Genius. Roll credits.